by the sound of violence.
Well, I think, too, it probably, bespeaks to the underlying UFC credo, which is like the more desperate, hungry, isolated, and beaten down you keep your fighters, the harder they fight.
Yeah, I mean, point proven.
Yeah.
Really.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's been a pretty exciting year.
Yeah. Pretty exciting year of fights. A lot of people got really sick. People lost a lot of money. But man, you throw that crust of bread in the middle of the octagon and you'll get a war.
That's right. Today our main event is John Vellante fighting Luis Pena over a can of beans. And even though Luis Pena clearly needs it more, John Vellante is going to fight his ass off.
What up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are an MMA podcast that lets you know the MMA podcast you should catch, skip, and can't miss each week. I am Pulver, and I am back yet again with my co-host to officially say, I forgot to say, we are an MMA podcast that talks about MMA podcasts and fucking hates Nazis, fascists, and whatever else fucking happened in the last week or so. We've said fuck racists and fascists and all you fucking Nazis for a long time. But, I'd like to repeat that since evidently it needs to be repeated in 2021 still. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm Pulver. I'm back with my co-host, Chris Madaffer. How's it going, man? Aside from the existential crisis of living in America.
So, first things first, if you voted for Donald Trump, you can go ahead and unfollow me now, if you are. Just get that out of the way. Just because I don't want to be associated with you and what you support.
Unless you have, within the last week, completely felt real bad about that, then I feel you.
Yeah, if you actually had common decency and sense, you're like, oh wait, what am I doing? Then good for you. Welcome back to the light.
Yeah, as long as you're not getting fired from LFA for being like, I saw no violence, bro.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long episode, guys. Although, we're not going to get into that a ton. So, Chris, you know what? Before we even get to any of that, we should start with, you can see me finally. We've upgraded our setup. I have lighting a little bit. It's shitty lighting, but I've got lighting. I have a 1080p camera, y'all. Not that it's going to help much, but... Well, no, Chris, you're seeing the 720 potato-ass one. Fucking the actual live one is 1080, though. But before we get to any of that, do you want to start us off with our Vodka presents, Doug Stanhope presents, our sponsors?
So I won't spoil what you showed everyone, but I do also like your glass of choice.
Yeah, for brewers.
Oh, yeah. So this was my favorite brewery of 2020.
I bet I could guess it. Yeah.
North Park Beer Co.
100%, dude. They've been killing it this year.
So I really like this can design. This one is called Graveyard Quartet. It's a West Coast Pale Ale.
I would have figured it was a quad by the name.
So it even shows the tombstones of the different hops involved.
Oh, shit. Okay, now it makes sense.
Quartet as the number 4.
Which hops is it, since you have the list?
So, Simcoe, Citra, Strata, and Mosaic.
Oh, shit. So it's kind of like it's a fairly newer style, but it's kind of a blend. Like, Simcoe is a fairly old school style hop. You get like a little bit of piney off Simcoe.
Oh, that's really good. Definitely kind of more, I guess, hop forward. Not really too bitter. Very, very dry but crispy. Kind of like the old traditional crispy kind of beer. Crushable, right?
Right, like those mid 2010s kind of West Coast IPAs.
I killed 3 of these already earlier, which almost was a mistake because I was getting pretty drunk until I ate something. I might have one of these later, but I had a 4-pack. This one's from Epic Brewing. It's an international style Pilsner. It's more or less a Japanese Pilsner because it's subtle aromas of sweet sushi rice and lemon blossom. It's 5.8 ABV. This one is called Special Lager from Epic Brewing, based out of San Diego here.
Yeah, 100%. Epic is legit. They're one of those breweries that I wish I got to more often, but like they always slip under my radar.
And of course, I thought this was empty and spilled the remainder of the beer all over myself.
Like a professional. Also, shout out to Matt in chat. Actually, segues us well into, before I get to my beer, I will say, we are not going to be doing any reviews of Irreversible or comedy specials this week, mostly because I can't handle it right now with everything going on. I can't handle putting myself through that shit and not getting more depressed. So we are going to put those off till after the 20th. However, we promise we will do it. We have some stuff up our sleeve in the meantime. And Matt, you're going to get 2 bad MMA jokes. They're going to be they're going to be bad. You know what? I'm going to do one of each style of bad. How about that? But we will get to that later. In the meantime, Chris, before we get to anything else, I am drinking this week a beer from... We're still saying where it is, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I'm drinking a beer from your brewery that you work at, New English Brewing, which is the Explorer ESB, which this is my first time having it with this case that you got me, or that I bought off you guys, that you brought over, and yeah, it's fucking incredible, man. Like, I'm a big ESB fan because they're very... Shuts to Matt in chat being hilarious. It's a very underrated style, and you don't see a lot of them, but they're insanely crushable, and like you can see why it's a very popular style in like colder weather. But for like a drinkable, crushable beer, like especially England, they're known for ESBs, right?
Oh yeah, and not really many breweries at all in San Diego, at least.
I mean, Widmer was like the last consistent one that used to get made, right?
Say that again, sorry.
I think Widmer had one for a while. Anvil from AleSmith.
Yep.
But like, there's probably 5 in the whole city that I can name off the top of my head. So yeah, absolutely a great beer, and I'm a big fan of it. To be fair though, your boss or the guy who owns your brewery is from kind of over there, right?
He's from the Manchester area, yeah.
Yeah, so like he very much knows old school beer styles and like quote unquote real ale and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So the thing that I'm glad that we do an ESB is because it's made with the English hops, the grain, and the malt, or just the English malts and the grain. It's the only beer that we brew that's just made just with the actual English grain and malt, or base, whatever you want to call it. The only other English style that we do is the English brown ale. Which is your traditional sweet and malty. When people ask me, how do you describe the ESB? I'm like, well, it's sweet and malty in the front part of your palate, and there's like a sharp bitterness at the end. And you're like, oh, I don't like bitter. And I'm like...
You're like, go for the brown, because that thing is sweet all the way through.
Well, yeah, I'm like, or just try it,
Well, that too. Yeah. Honestly, ESBs are like, when you are a kid and you think of beers, I think ESBs are probably like the closest I thought of before I ever tried a beer as to what beers taste like. I can see that.
Like. That's a good example.
They're like very caramely and like kind of bready and approachable, and yeah, I'm a big fan of them. So big shouts out to both New English Brewing and the Explorer ESB. The other thing I'm going to shout out is maybe the dumbest. Chris, have you heard of Weed?
Which thing? It's a beer?
No, Weed. The weed company called Weed.
No.
It literally is called Weed. This is 1 gram of weed.
Were they just like so stoned or they just were like, what do you call it?
It's a Venomoji. I'm pretty sure they're just big Demolition Man fans. Is it Demolition Man? Is that the right movie?
That's the one. Well, Demolition Man's a Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes.
No, it's not Demolition Man. It's the one with Emilio Estevez that I always confuse.
Oh, Repo Man.
Repo Man. Thank you. Yeah. It very much has Repo Man packaging vibes. 100%. I will also accept fucking They Live vibes to the packaging. 100%. It's really dumb. It's not great weed, but it was I think $10 for a gram, and I was like, yo, for that packaging, I will try that. So I'm smoking some of that today.
Off camera about weed. I've got something for you.
All right. Oh, you mean a good connection to a super legal dispensary? I will definitely do that, Chris.
Yes.
And then also on the side of the stuff that I'm maybe going to smoke on the break, but probably not at the beginning of the episode, I still have some of the 30-something% animal grams from Cream of the Crop that is fucks my world up at the end of the day. And we might get into terp slurpers at some point, but I'm not trying to get too crazy. So, before we get to any of that, though, Chris, this is actually going to be a regular episode, because like we mentioned, we're actually going to be delaying our award show for, I don't know, sometime in the next week or so. I think we're aiming for next Friday is when we're going to record it and try and put it out. It is... every year I forget how much work that award show is, and I forget how many fucking podcasts I have to go back and listen to and pull clips from and everything. So it took me way longer than expected, and then also drinking myself out of an existential crisis during riots at the fucking Capitol did not speed up that process at all. So.
I remember I was at work and we were canning some beer. And I was like, it was the middle of work. I'm like, you see what the fuck's going on right now? My boss like, yeah, this is kind of nuts.
Kind of nuts.
I mean, exaggerated, but
yeah, I know. Yeah, no, it's fucking wild. Also, shouts out to everybody who's like, I love how the entire state of California is like, riots in PB, mass Trump protest. There was like 75 people. It was like 2 blocks from me. There was like 75 Trump supporters.
Antifa and BLM.
Well, to be fair, there was about 200 black bloc anti-fascists down in PB. There was about 50 fucking Trump supporters, and that shit all the Trump supporters got real quiet real quick. So that shit was real cute. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a lot of that this episode, you guys. I don't know if you noticed, our country is burning and democracy is on fire, so it might come up once or twice.
Just makes me want to burn this motherfucker down.
Dude, I'm pretty sure we've tweeted this shit multiple times in the last couple of weeks, but yes, Pookie, burn this motherfucker down. All right, well, we should get into format before I just completely spiral and this becomes an episode about why our country is a complete shit show. But I think we got to most of our news. Like I said, we're pushing the Irreversible and stand-up reviews because I love it. Although, to be fair, shout out to Adam Hunter, who said he said give me things to roast, and I said the editor of his special on Twitter, the UFC fight, or whoever edited his special on Fight Pass, and he did have a good joke about it. So, I mean, like I said, that guy has a good sense of humor, and he's a decent writer. And while I'm not the biggest fan of what I've seen so far of his set, I also think the fucking Fight Pass team did him zero help in the editing. So, I don't know.
It was pretty rough.
Dude, at least I'm not a fan of sweetening specials, but good God, sir. Hey, Shawnee Podcast dropping in chat. Happy New Year, buddy. It's good to see your country still functioning like it should. Because, oh boy, not all of us are. Let's see. So, Chris, we should get into format, and I should stop fucking rambling. So, why don't you start us off with the MMA podcast you recommend people catch this week?
So, staying on topic with insurrection.
Great. I have a feeling it might come up a couple times.
Yeah, I got multiple catches and all that. This one's quick. I don't have too many notes because I half the time when I'm listening to these, I'm either at work or driving. So this one was the co-main event podcast Wednesday live chat from just this past Wednesday.
So that would have been from the 13th.
Yes. So the first thing to ask is, where are the rubber bullets for the racist terrorists? Good question. I'll just get this out of the way. The main thing that was disheartening and sad to me was the response of state capitol police and security.
You mean by opening doors for racists?
Yeah, the fact that the terrorists even got indoors is embarrassment. It's appalling, and it's damning, is what it is. Also, shouts out to that one dumb terrorist bitch who got And of course, she's from San Diego.
Of course she is.
Of course she is.
Hey,
Watched
if
that
only
video
she would have
multiple
drowned in a
times.
pool earlier.
Still don't feel sorry.
No.
If I feel sorry for anyone, it's probably her family because now they're shamed.
I don't feel bad for them because they don't have to deal with a lot of bullshit.
But then again, also to that point, now that you say that, I'll actually backpedal on that, seeming that if she actually had a husband that cared for her, he would never have let her got on the plane. So anyways,
Yeah, so really unfortunate that her husband didn't visit her at the state capitol. We're really we're pushing the line towards parlor language. We should tone that down.
Chad, I think it was Ben that said, he's like, hey Chad, Quite Franklin is trending, and evidently it is a recommended podcast if you're a listener of CME. So we've made it. That checks out. They also said, so as far as the heavyweight, just fight picture, title picture, they said maybe the UFC can just slip Francis Ngannou some money to let John Jones fight Stipe first. But as they recorded that, it was announced today, the rumor that the UFC is planning, I think it's for March 27th, end of the month, pay-per-view bout between Stipe and Francis Ngannou. And I believe on that same card, there's another title fight. Can't remember what it is right now. But it was a big fight.
Which one?
For UFC, I think it's like 260 for March 27th.
Oh, yeah, dude, I don't know. It's
It
probably.
was just announced today.
I'm just
that
guessing we're not even gonna have a country by then, so unless it's planned somewhere else. This is like we might as well be talking about fights in the year 2050.
Yeah. Or smoker shows, right?
Yeah, well, to be fair, we are headed that way again if COVID keeps going the way it is in the U.S., bro. Fucking Tachi Palace, here we come.
They said UFC has not given us any indication that our money that we pay them through our ESPN subscriptions and pay-per-view earnings and all that is actually going to them. Is being allocated or funneled towards fighter pay. Is there any way they could show us that's happening? Even if it is, it's probably not.
I mean,
It's the UFC.
It's not, and no, they won't show you that, and also they will try and get Ali Abdelaziz into court so they don't have to unseal documents. Also, it's Volkanovski versus Ortega is the fight on that card, I believe, thanks to Shawnee in chat.
Oh, I just actually opened up the chat for the first time like in forever.
There you
to
go.
Actually follow along with that.
Look at Chris being an adult in this, actually doing stuff for this podcast. Let's see. So, anything else for the CME live chat?
No, that's all I had for that one.
Nice.
At the moment.
Yeah, I actually didn't catch the live chats this week because, like I said, I've been swamped with both going back and looking at stuff, and we will get to my well-rounded, which is honestly, I've probably listened to like 100 hours of my well-rounded show in the last 3 weeks. I've just literally been running it nonstop, and it's been blowing my goddamn mind. And we will get to that later. If you guys have at all been looking at our Twitter, you know what the fuck it is. So I guess I will go to one of my catches for this week, which is Crooklyn's Corner. I wonder when the last episode of Crooklyn's Corner was out, because it's been a while. Let me see when Steffi put out episode 8. You know what? Was it the Vic Rodriguez one? Because that was pretty recently, actually. Yeah, it was. Okay. So she did do the Vic one pretty recently, which was a good one as well. But this was episode 9, which was... she had Gina from the WoCast, or... what's G's fucking name on Twitter nowadays? Something. I don't know. It's something crazy. G from... No, it's not G from WoW TV. She changes it all the goddamn time. You know G if you're on MMA Twitter at all. But it's really cool hearing her and Steffi go back and forth. I just really enjoy both of them. They are funny voices in the sport who are not afraid to just shit on everything. And especially people who are being giant cunts on Twitter. And I just find it a lot of fun. Also, I learned, McKee from the goddamn Bloody Elbow podcast is 25. When they joke about him being a child, he's kind of a child.
Wait, really?
Yes.
It sounds like he could be 35.
I know. They joke about him being like 12-year-old all the time. He's literally 25.
Well, then again, people look at me to like, who's the fucking 21 Jump Street? You know.
That's true.
So,
you
do. I can't really. I'm in no position to talk.
You
shit,
do have strong like Aoki's boyfriend vibes. That's a great joke. If anybody knows if anybody's watched any of 6th and Jump or 21 Jump Street recently. Oh God, nobody has. It's fine. Also,
I presume you're talking about the original 21 Jump Street.
Dude, are you saying
not
are you saying people talk about the remake? Because I've never.
No, see that's the thing. Now that you say that, as the film person I am, that movie was good for a year because that's how that works with a lot of the short-lived comedies.
I heard it was better than it had any reason.
Don't get me wrong. I genuinely enjoyed the one with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. I thought it was a decent film.
And they had some decent references to like the old school cast and stuff.
Well, I mean, just the cameos, literally alone.
Yeah.
Without spoiling it, are actually pretty great. But no, I haven't seen the original one. I've seen bits and pieces. I know it's great for what it is.
For sure.
But then again, I could talk your off about a lot of film and television that people should watch and should not watch. There's more of that.
Yeah,
there's a lot more of what you should not watch.
Yeah. You know what? I'm even hesitant to say this. I got forced to watch a little bit of the Sabrina show on Netflix. It's not the worst.
So
it got better recently.
Was it a reboot they did?
Yeah, it's a weird reboot, but they did a very cool flashback thing recently with an alternate universe bit that went about how you think it would.
Is there still like the animatronic cat, or whatever?
There's still a cat. Yeah, I don't know that he talks out loud. I don't know. I catch that show in like random episodes.
I don't even have Netflix anymore. Not that I actually even had Netflix, but I know there's a bunch of like original content, but I haven't.
The only thing I really watch on Netflix nowadays is Hip Hop Evolution. It's about it, and that's mostly because of the stuff that If the Shoes Fits guys do on their Patreon. Anyway, we are off topic. Let's see. Did you have another? Oh wait, I didn't actually get to much of Crooklyn's Corner. They talk about all of G's dead Twitter accounts and which ones she misses most. Talk about their favorite fights, best fighters. They talk about a lot of like food talk and talk about like New York, since they're both. Well, G lives in Brooklyn, I want to say. I'm pretty sure, and of course Steffi is Crooklyn for a reason. And let's see, most outlandish moment, Izzy clapping Costa's ass was I believe G's response, which is hilarious. And let's see, all the talk about fighters, like G talks about how seeing all these fighters come out and be like, COVID isn't shit and nobody cares and like only 1.1% of people die from it. Whereas like G is somebody who's lost a couple people from COVID. And so she just talks about like how rough it is seeing fighters talk like that and being like, just how much it brings back all that shit back up. Where it's like, oh, dope, dude. So you're saying my grandma doesn't matter? Thanks, bro. It's real sweet of you. So also speaking of COVID, shouts out to Shawnee Podcast. So I'm glad it's doing much better because I know he had a rough week or two there. And was still doing podcasts with COVID, from what I remember. So
like a trooper.
Yeah, god damn it. Officially the most consistent award is getting transferred to Shawnee Podcast, I'm pretty sure. Because the other person's signed a document saying they're no longer a journalist. So if you remember right, Chris. I don't know if you remember who our most consistent award is. Let me put it to you this way. Our most consistent award used to have a blue shirt. It no longer does.
I'm like blanking on who that is.
It's cool. Everybody listening
multiple ideas of who that is because I already have. Remember my permanent skips or like my.
Oh yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those.
Then I know.
You know who it is. It's a real frosty podcast. Yeah. All right. Well, we should move on. And I like that dude. It sucks. I hate that went the way it did this year. That, by the way, spoiler for the award show. There's gonna be some talk about that on that award show. We have a couple new categories for 2020 that are gonna not make people happy, probably. but that's cool. Chris, you have an MMA podcast people should catch this week, or another one, I should say.
Another one. This one I enjoyed a lot. It was I should really discuss this one for the preview segment, so I guess I'll just kind of name
You
drop
can briefly
this one
touch on it, yeah.
Yeah. So Grange TV.
Oh, nice.
This one was with City Kickboxing Zone and UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski.
Dude, I really wanted to catch this. I'm glad you did.
So he previewed Kattar versus Holloway, which is, at the time of the recording this, tomorrow night. Or no, excuse me, tomorrow in the afternoon.
Yeah,
the main
noon,
event will
I
be
think,
around
is...
2 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Which would be 5 p.m. Eastern, and yada yada. You can do the math.
Yeah, well, this is episode 93 of Grange TV.
Yeah, and this one was cool because it wasn't just the main event tomorrow that Volkanovski previewed. He analyzed multiple fights that both Calvin Kattar and Holloway have had in the past. He analyzed, his own bouts between himself and Max Holloway, as well as Holloway fighting Aldo, and I think Holloway fighting Ortega, and I think it was Holloway fighting Ricardo
Could be. That was the crazy banger.
might have been Lamas, but Volkanovski's definitely a very technical thinker. It's just far as just breaking down his opponents, their tendencies, their perceived flaws. That's what I'll call that, because you can't just say, "Oh, this guy has a weakness there."
Yeah, potential openings kind of thing.
Just out of respect is what you say. Like, I noticed they don't do this that well, given this sample size of fights that I saw them. Blah blah, blah yada yada yada, and that's how he broke it down, and I respect that. And of course, what's his name? Fabian?
Fab?
Fab, yeah. I know it's Fab, but I can't remember.
That's what I would go with. I think it's Fabian, but I would go with Fab just to be safe, because I know he goes by that.
And Fab, of course, brings all side square examples of his own, just through Australian and the Kiwi mixed martial arts scene of just up-and-coming fighters. He discussed with Alex, hey, I remember when you were first starting out as a pro and you fought this guy like fucking welterweight, and he was like 6-7 inches taller than you, way bigger than you. This is what you did.
Oh, back when Volkanovski was 250 pounds, like Joe Rogan always talks about?
That's still so fucking annoying.
Well, to be fair, Joe Rogan never talks about lies.
Volkanovski says 214, 214, 240. Oh, you were 240, 40.
To be fair, Joe Rogan is the most factually accurate man in existence, and he's never brought on racists or fascists and pushed their agendas without ever asking them about their feelings on, let's say, Jewish people.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, I'll stop.
Sorry, I have to keep segueing back to it. It's so frustrating, dude. The fucking Joe Rogan connections are so much worse than I thought they were. Anyway.
Okay. But yeah, so that's definitely a listen if you want a solid breakdown from Alexander Volkanovski, the current UFC featherweight champion. I believe he has a fight that is about to be almost confirmed or booked. He will be fighting I
believe it's Ortega, right?
It's Brian Ortega, yes. Yeah, so should be a good one.
Yeah,
and I
especially
think that's the fight, by the way, now that I recall. That is the co-main event. That will be UFC 260, I believe it is, which is Stipe versus Ngannou 2. The co-main event will be Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega. I believe that was the co-main.
I think Shawnee dropped that in chat as well, yeah. That is that's a wild card. I mean, they're stacking some of these cards, but, let's be honest. We know why they're stacking cards 3 title fights deep on most big pay-per-views. It's because, number one, they're trying to make money back.
I was going to say they need to make lost wages, lost profits.
Well, they're trying to make back gate by stacking it because they're going to look. Even if I'm guessing they're going to try and do gate for some of these, like the Connor one, but I assume they also realize that shit will not last for long because tests are going to start, or positives are going to start ramping up again.
Aren't they actually allowing a small number of
there's fucking fans happening next weekend.
I believe it's 2,000 in attendance.
Yeah, how'd that shit work out in Alabama?
Oh, you mean when Alabama? Yeah, and that. Wow, dude, that was bad.
Guess how many people that
whole,
was?
They had a whole COVID block party.
2,000.
That was way more than 2,000.
Yeah, but also no one was wearing masks, and Abu Dhabi don't
Oh
play
no,
that
you know what's
shit.
funny? I don't know if I showed you that video. Everyone go follow if you want to just see the participants for the Darwin Awards year in and year out. Follow All Gas No Brakes on social media. That guy, his name's Andrew. He unfortunately, out of his own mental health, interviews these. I don't want to use this word. He interviews these people. That's how I'll put it.
Yep.
And I remember there's one at the Sturgis motorcycle rally, which is like in North Dakota or some shit. This guy, they was like, "What are your thoughts on South Dakota?" Yeah, it's in South Dakota. And I remember they're like, "What are your thoughts on this?" He's like, "I am afraid of no cobra." I'm like, okay. So now I'm always calling COVID Cobra.
Oh wait, Sturgis is in Michigan. What are we talking about? No, it's in South Dakota. There's a Sturgis in Michigan also, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's South
Yeah,
Dakota.
from now on, whenever it's, and ironically, that's not the South. It's the unfortunate North Midwest. Any dumb motherfucker or redneck that calls COVID, I just call it Cobra. I ain't afraid no Cobra.
I mean,
Just, yeah.
to be fair, I'm kind of with it. I'm not even mad at it. I kind of wanted to start calling it Cobra all the time, and that's not
that's what
good.
I do.
That's bad.
Like my brother, he knows it's up. He's
That's
just, "Yeah,
irresponsible."
Cobra, you gotta be careful. Don't get the Cobra.
Dude, oh my god, I kind of want to do that, and that's the worst. It's very irresponsible, but it's very funny.
But yeah, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, they don't care about Cobra. It's roll tide, roll Cobra,
Shit,
roll Cobra.
well, shit, Shawnee got bit by the Cobra, but he survived. I hate that. I'm gonna stop using that immediately. That's the fucking worst, dude. That is the worst. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate every part of that. All right, I mean, we're moving on. I feel bad about now that I've heard that story. Fucking Cobra. Anyway, all right. Another catch I got is the Fight Site MMA podcast, episode 32. This is the end of year awards with Edge, Saram, and Iggy. Of course, Iggy from Tengerdome, who we are big fans of. I mean, we're big fans of all the Fight Site guys, but it's cool hearing Iggy back on since I know Tengerdome's been on hiatus for a little bit now. But yeah, I like end of the year shows, but I like end of the year shows who use it as an excuse to talk about fights, and not end of the year shows who use it as an excuse or like whatever the topic is, right? Like you use it as an excuse to talk about video games, or you use it as an excuse to talk about music, or you don't just use it as a publicity thing to where you get to just like, hey, here, look at, aren't you special because I gave you a thing? And this means so much because anyone should care about any award show ever? Like, that shit sucks. The coolest part about award shows are the discussions.
Agreed. I mean, that's what it should be about.
Also, Shawnee podcast in chat saying, the Cobra couldn't get me, coughs up lungs. So, yeah. To be fair, dude, I'd be coughing up lungs without the Cobra. So... I'm doomed. Actually, luckily, girlfriend Karen just got the vaccine since she's a frontline worker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she got the first shot. She's gonna be getting the second. Also,
I forgot.
Pro tip: the vaccine will fuck you up. She felt like shit for a day. Like took her out.
I forget, is it Pfizer or like the Moderna? What's it called? Moderna.
I don't remember which one she got off the top of my head, but yeah, it was it's whichever one they're distributing to all the healthcare workers down at Petco.
Well, I'm glad she was able to get it. It was accessible, so that's good.
Dude, you and me both. Since she's like, working, dealing with public all day and stuff for pets and everything. So, definitely makes me feel a little better. At least it will here in a bit. Let's see. Right, so the Fight Site MMA podcast also talks about, I like their award shows because they like Heavy Hands and like a lot of the cool ones. They do weird awards that just kind of like spur discussions. And also, they didn't have clear definitions for some of the awards, too, which was cool, because you just hear Iggy come in being like, what is the actual definition of this award show? Like, what is this award supposed to mean? Because you can interpret this a whole fuckload of ways. Like, stuff like Fighter of the, like, Breakout Fighter of the Year versus, like...
Fighter of the Year?
Well, Breakout Fighter of the Year versus, like, Prospect of the Year. Like, what's the difference in those two, right? Like... that kind of discussion, or like what do you, how do you qualify yeah.
I was gonna say, AKA it's between Hamzat Chimaev and Kevin Holland, right?
Well, yeah, it's basically like which one do you qualify as hype, and which by the UFC, and which one do you qualify as actual wins? Which is, by the way, Hamzat's not the one with actual wins, y'all. And people are gonna fucking turn on him like Costa so hard when he takes an L. It sucks. That the UFC pushes people way too hard and then forces them into situations where they're not gonna win.
I agree. Can't disagree with that.
Super frustrating. Anyway, so some other awards to talk about is the Fighter of the Year, which is understandably unanimous. I think everybody has the same Fighter of the Year pretty much this year. Fight of the Year. It's pretty tough to get outside.
Are we allowed to commentate on this now? Or
sure, go for it. We don't do these awards.
When you say everyone thinks Fighter of the Year, so I don't know if I say my pick, my assumption is Davison Figueiredo for Fighter of the Year or Kevin Holland. One of those two.
I think it. You know what? I didn't write it down, and now you're making me question it.
Okay, never mind.
I thought it was. I think it was Fig, but I'm not positive.
Because Fight of the Year has got to be
Fight of the Years. Everybody knows
Joanna,
it's JJ versus
Weili.
Zhang, and if you say otherwise, you're wrong.
The only other close one I remember just off the top of my head from just memory is Poirier and Hooker. But
but like that was really a round of the year, probably not Fight of the Year.
Yeah.
Although even then, round 5, Zhang versus JJ was fucking insane.
Just like knockout of the year is the same thing.
Everybody has the same knockout of the
disagree.
Year. Almost everybody has the same sub of the year. Everybody's saying it's the
yeah, I showed that. Trevor was here a couple hours ago. I showed him
the 100% sub. That shit's tight.
So I showed him the knockout of the year, and I showed him the stub.
He loved that shit, right?
Started grabbing his knee, going, "No!"
Wait, which sub were you looking at?
Oh, okay. Actually,
you were saying the Ariane Lipsky knee bar?
I showed him the wrong one. So I know it's the
it's the 100% one. Yeah, it's the 100% from from AJ.
I showed him. Excuse me. Then
the knee bar from Ariane Lipsky.
Yeah, that one.
That shit was. It was the ugliest sub, but it was the ugliest sub. You know what I mean?
I showed him, and he's just like,
that shit should have never happened.
Starts,
but
grabbing
it's
his
so
knee,
bad.
And like, yeah,
it's really bad.
I was like, yeah, that's not good. But the AJ McKee one. What did?
It's 100%. It's like I think he's calling it a McKee.
Oh, someone called it the McKeatine. I gotta remember.
I want to say it was Luke Thomas. I want to say he's the one that coined that. I know some people are pushing for the McKee lock, but it's not a lock. So that it's basically a modified guillotine. So guillotine makes most sense to me. But really, it's the 100%. From what I understand. Because 10th Planet dudes have been like working that position and sometimes catching dudes with that for a long time.
I forgot. Is AJ McKee still pretty young, like 26, something like that? Isn't he like?
Yeah. I don't know how young he is, but yeah, he's super young.
That's good.
Well, and his dad fought for fucking ever.
Yeah, Antonio Senior, or maybe he's junior and he's the third. I can't remember. I know they're both Antonio.
He is. Oh god, do I have to do this math live on air? 25. Yeah, he's super young.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Oh, hopefully he comes to UFC, because that's what I hope.
Gosh, that's what it was. McCrank is not bad, Shawnee Podcast. However, it's... Okay, you're right. Shawnee Podcast points out it's not a choke, so calling it a guillotine is not correct. It is a neck crank. However... The McCrank sounds like a fucking Simpsons character, like, or like or whatever Connor snorts in his off time.
The McCrank sounds like a terrible item you order at McDonald's.
Okay, I could get with that.
Order a quarter pounder.
No, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a Carl's Jr. menu item in Idiocracy is what it sounds like.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm eating.
Yeah, 100%. I agree that there should be a better name, but I don't have one. I don't have a solution. I have nothing but questions. So, all in all, though, I really like the Fight Sites MMA podcast in general. It's crazy that that Ed has taken over as host with Saram, because I always loved hearing Danny on there. But of course, Danny's moving on to bigger stuff, and man, can't blame people for moving on from MMA. Didn't do Pat Wyman any disfavors. You know what I'm saying? Is disfavor a word? It's definitely not a word, right?
It's not.
Yeah, I don't know what I was going for, but
You just have to say didn't do him any favors, and that's it.
well, that would have been. Yep, that would have been the one. Hey, you get what I meant, though.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
100%. Nailed it. All right, cool. But it was good hearing Iggy back on, and I hope Tengar Dome resumes soon.
Hey,
Chris,
irregardless, we know what you meant.
oh, good God. I will come right through this goddamn camera, young man. All right. On that note, Chris, do you have any skips for this week other than anyone who has ever had Alex Jones on their podcast?
That's a good one. Severe. I'm just kidding. Comes to mind.
That was really good. That's such a dumb joke, but a very funny joke.
No, I didn't really have any outright.
I don't really either.
I'll just be honest. Everything I listened to, I kind of wanted to listen to.
Yeah, I to be honest with you guys, we'll talk more about this on the award show, but I am listening to less shows next year that I don't like. Like, you guys have known for a while, I will intentionally subject myself to stuff I don't like just to see how it's going and if I should like it again. And that shit gets fucking torturous sometimes, especially when it comes to like listening to shows where I'm like, I know this is gonna make me angry, but I feel like I need to listen to it for the show. So I am still gonna do that here and there, or I will at least point out the shows that I think I intentionally did not listen to that maybe people should. But I'm not going to sit through fucking Ariel Helwani shows that are 3 hours long where he just talks about pro wrestling. I'm not going to sit through MMA Junkie shows where he just basically lets a dude who is clearly making money and spreading publicity for a fucking dictator who is killing people in his country. I'm not going to talk about those shows anymore. And I think it's pretty clear why. Because a lot of those shows are also the ones who found no issue just letting fucking questionable white supremacists run their fucking mouths on their platforms and really didn't push them on it or question them on it. They just go, whoa, what a crazy take. We're like, by the way, bro, if you are not questioning racist comments or potentially racist comments on your fucking program that you are putting out, that means you are implicitly supporting those comments, and that's a fucking problem.
Yeah, the zero accountability, I just can't understand why anyone would let that pass.
There's a very clear point in time that happened over the last couple of years, and I'm not going to point fingers at anybody specifically because it's so many fucking people in this industry. But they know what they did. Like, all of them are college educated. All of them studied the fucking Holocaust. All of them understand that not all racists a lot of times and Nazis a lot of times when they're trying to gain popularity will intentionally make vague the super, super racist shit to gain popularity. So then by the time it's actually an issue, it's actually an issue. Like, that's the entire beer hall push was about that shit. Like, essentially, they toned down a lot of their rhetoric after they failed with that shit to gain popularity to then be able to overthrow shit.
Real
it's
quickly,
very
just
simple.
for reference, your beer hall putsch is Doug Stanhope's stand-up, right?
Oh, you're right. You're right. Wait, no,
Yeah,
beer hall putsch is also the Hitler, the Nazi party in the, what was it? It was before the It was like early in the 30s or before the 30s, late 20s.
Now I'm just ignorant to the fact. That's right. I forgot that was during his rise to power.
Yeah, essentially they tried to overthrow shit. They failed.
It was before he burned down like the German parliament, where it was, right?
Right. Well, no, they failed in their attempt to overthrow the government. Hitler went to jail for a year in like essentially a like very cushy fucking jail with a bunch of his buddies for a year. And then essentially all those same motherfuckers came back around a couple years later, and shit got way worse because they weren't actually treated like criminals the way they should have been. Because they were also friends with the cops. Weird how that all works. History will repeat itself, motherfuckers, and you can be on the right side, you can be on the wrong side, but you're picking a side by not picking a side. And so that is what the fuck I have to say about that. We will talk about more about that probably when it comes to the actual award show.
Like
skips,
we
but
kind of the disclaimer in the beginning.
I'm just so fucking I'm just so tired.
We will be kind of rambling, or not rambling. We'll just be discussing some non-fight stuff because there are more pressing matters than fight talk. Even though we are an MMA podcast.
Well, hey, like not
because
talking...
it threatens our democracy and way of life in the country that you and I are both broadcasting this podcast from.
Well, and not just that.
Streaming, excuse me.
It would be irresponsible if there was a fucking sports podcast in 1932 or 1934 and they were just not talking about the Nazis taking over everywhere. That would be fucking irresponsible.
Yeah, it'd be irresponsible. They'd be like, "Hello, Deutschland."
I don't want to talk about the unfortunate politics, but instead we're going to talk about all the white people who are competing in athletics.
They'd be like, they would literally say this. They'd be like, "Oh, the Negro man, American Jesse Owens won the Olympics today. What do you think of that? Yeah, even though people got bombed, it's like."
It's so farcical. Like, in no time in history have you ever been able to ignore the world around you just talk about sports. And we won't do that either. And all you fucking podcasts who are pretending to not do it, good luck. Good luck. Let me know how that goes. Because it feels weird. It's like everybody who was trying not to talk about COVID for fucking 3 months, and they realized, oh, you can't do that over time.
By the way, and I won't. So, like on Twitter, when you follow I don't say your favorite athletes or MMA personalities or fighters, right? But how you can see what people retweet and like.
Yeah. And how it's always racist.
Well, there are a couple fighters that the Sound of Violence also follow that I saw unfortunately retweeted some bad rhetoric, and I'm not gonna say their name here. I'll tell you.
Have we blocked them yet, or do we need to? How bad was the rhetoric?
I'll talk to you.
Okay, maybe we are blocking them after this show.
Because it might be a surprise to you, is all I'll say.
Oh God. One.
Nah.
Is one of them behind me?
No.
Okay, good. That's the only one I care about. All the rest of them can eat a dick.
All I'll say is they retweeted something along the lines of, you notice how this whole insurrection thing, COVID has gone away? Well, wait till the 20th. It won't be a thing anymore. Something along those lines.
You know what? Sean Sheehan has a message for America that I can get behind. I want to make him president, even though we can't even... That's not how our government works at all. You definitely can't make an average dude president.
Oh, if our government worked that way, fucking Anna would be president.
Well, that's very true. And I would honestly not be against that at this point.
Did you see his speech he had? It's actually pretty dope.
Honestly. I saw parts of it.
Not even being
no. He's like he's always very reasonable and like just a decent person. It seems like. But Sean Sheehan in chat saying I will absolutely get behind. He's just gonna ignore America because, as he says, you pricks annoy me enough as it is. Stop being a dickhead, everyone in America. Thanks. I could get behind that. That seems like just solid advice from someone who is not dealing with hot trash every day.
Yeah.
So on that note, Chris, now that we have completely fucking torpedoed this episode, like I was trying not to so hard, but it was inevitably going to happen. And I haven't even gotten to my well-rounded episode, which is just going to re-torpedo this shit. Why don't you say the MMA podcast you recommend people can't miss this week?
Okay. There's two. Well, that one's an honorable mention. I'll just say the one that needs to be said, and we should have said it by now. So did you read the article from Steven Morocco of MMA Fighting?
The Spencer Fisher article. Yep. Yeah.
So my can't miss is Morning Combat. What does the UFC owe Spencer Fisher? Really solid work from Luke Thomas. Yeah, it was an interesting listen, a sad listen, an encouraging.
Was it an interview with him?
No.
Was it just kind of like a discussion about the article?
Yeah, and why everyone needs to pay attention to this and what it means for unionization in theory. Of course, that's how I'll phrase that. Yeah, so Luke just kind of breaks down Spencer Fisher, who he was as a fighter. I believe in the early 2000s. He was a lightweight, if I recall. Currently, he's age 44. So. He's financially hanging on. Brain damage only getting worse. Luke's thoughts on this. Every UFC fighter needs to read this article to understand the dangerous and lasting effects the sport has on its own fighters and the lack of financial security that comes along with fighting in the UFC, not just the UFC, but in MMA in general. Yep. Fighters need to band together because Dana and the promotion, I mean, they have all the leverage. These are my notes. That's not what he said, by the way, verbatim.
You guys can take that for any part of the show. It's just our notes.
Even if a UFC doctor reached out to Fisher's family and claimed he was exaggerating pain and symptoms, I think that was I'm not going to go on record and say that was a real thing because I didn't hear that out of Luke's mouth, but I think that's what was insinuated was UFC doctors were like, hey, here's what's wrong with you. Just fucking take more painkillers and you'll be fine, bud.
Yeah.
The one example that Luke cited that I agree with 100%, and this is another, I mean, this is the biggest sport and basically, arguably in the entire world that's not soccer, because that's an international level, is the National Football League. He cites Robert Griffin III, who is had a very good rookie year for the Washington, well, now defunct Redskins.
Careful,
team.
Bro.
Yeah, the Washington football team.
Yeah.
Essentially, he was a very good quarterback for them. He had multiple knee injuries. In a playoff game, the head coach is like, nah, son, you need to get the fuck out there. Play. You want us to win, right? Does that.
That worked out great for him, I'm sure.
What's up?
That worked out great for him, I'm sure. Nothing bad happened.
Guess what? He also further damaged his knees. The medical staff of most NFL franchises and teams, all they do is they just hand you more Vicodin and Percocets and say, don't be a little bitch and get out there. Do you want to win? And ever since then, Robert Griffin III is pretty much out of the league. His knees are still fucked, and he was never the same. This has happened to most NFL players. Luckily for the NFL, they have a union. Good for them. The only other example that I know of, and this is why the worst owner in sports, that's not Dan Snyder, coincidentally, of the Washington football team, Dean Spanos of the now shittily Los Angeles Chargers. I still makes me want to punch myself in the face when I say that.
Barely Los Angeles. They're about to get thrown the fuck out of that city soon.
Yeah. Dean Spanos, please get ALS and sell the team. Anyways, Rodney Harrison used to be an all-pro safety for the Chargers in the 90s and early 2000s. He came out and interviewed, this is like probably 20 years ago. He was like, they're like, what was your experience with the ownership? And he's like, well, I always had a lot of pains. It could be on the sidelines during the games. And I'm paraphrasing this. I'd have headaches, migraines. Essentially, the team doctor would go up to me and, hey, here's some, painkillers, whatever they give him. Get the fuck back out there. And then at one point, he's like, nah, I'm out. NFL's worth $12 billion. Guess which other promotion's worth a couple $1 billion and doesn't care about the people that they employ? Right?
The one that's making 3 times as much off of them? Well, yeah, exactly. Percentage-wise?
Imagine, just look at the percentages. So, and this is a terrible, this is actually a good example. So, Conor McGregor, clearly the most marketable UFC fighter.
And the most paid.
Makes the most money.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, he's the quarterback for the defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. Signed in the offseason about maybe a little over a year, or a little less than a year ago, maybe 8 months ago. Signed, I believe it was a 10 or 11-year deal worth $450 million. And the thing about the NFL is there's a salary cap. Realistically, I don't see how Kansas City keeps being able to afford that $40 million plus a year, the AAV. Don't see how they're going to be able to do that, plus salary cap. If they figure it out, good for him. But push comes to shove, they'll probably tell Patrick Mahomes, hey, take a pay cut. Whatever. They want to win championships. He's the best quarterback in the league. Doesn't matter. But think about all that money. They give one guy, just one franchise, $450 million fucking dollars for 10 years. That sounds like some good financial fucking comfort. for the head of your franchise, and that's just, there's 32 NFL teams, that's one team out of 32 that's able to financially support that player, while the NFL is worth $12 billion fucking dollars. You telling me the UFC can't do better? There's I think there's 500 UFC active fighters on the UFC roster.
They're cutting that down every day. I think we're back under 5 now.
The obvious point is, I think the average fighter should be at least making $100,000 or more, regardless of your ranking.
I don't know necessarily $100,000 or more, but they should absolutely be making. They should absolutely be making 40% of revenue.
Yeah. And I shouldn't say it like that because it's like, so what are you, a socialist, bro? We should make the same amount.
I mean, first off, yes. First off, I'm tired of billionaires, so we can start there.
So did you vote for Bernie, bro?
Oh, dude, I would have if I would have voted.
And that's when someone goes, bro, you can't talk shit about Trump. You didn't vote, bro.
Well, to be fair, it's.
No different for you.
I almost did it. You almost got me to do it, Chris. I'm not doing it. Burn them all down, motherfucker. Come on, Pookie.
That's the only answer you can do. Burn this motherfucker to the ground.
100%. Because it's just a bit. It's clearly a bit. It's just a bit. It's a bit. I would like to make that very clear. 100%. Yeah, no, that's extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know it's sloppy the way I brought it up, but essentially it's that analogy that Luke brought up.
It's a great analogy, and me as someone who, I don't follow all of my stats I know about mainstream sports payment stuff all comes from like John Nash and like the percentage of revenue split that they get in player association talk and that kind of shit. I don't get like I don't see as much of the like 1-to-1 on damage. And hey Chris, so you're saying that the doctors who were working specifically for the NFL were problematic and were possibly advising things that were dangerous? Well, it's a good thing the only doctors in MMA who are around fighters are the ones with the athletic commissions who are run by the government. And the UFC doesn't have their own group of doctors who they have convinced fighters to work with that is definitely for their best interest and not for the UFC's best interest. I'm glad we don't have that situation happening in the UFC currently.
Yeah.
But they have concussion studies, you guys. I mean, they're convincing people to drop weight classes like Aldo. But they have concussion studies.
Yeah, baby steps, right?
Yeah, and by baby steps, they're taking baby steps towards fixing things while taking sprinting leaps towards money.
Oh, I thought you were going to say their fighters will be taking baby steps after sustaining damage.
I mean, hopefully they can still continue to, yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Fuck, man.
It's all upsetting.
Chris, we are maybe the most depressing MMA podcast. now that I think about it. We are out there, bro.
Call it depressingly real.
Well, you know what? This is the best segue ever because my can't miss for this week is MMA depressed us, which is not as depressing as this show somehow. This was episode 55 or number 55 since I think they technically number them and not episode number them. And I love this show. I mentioned it last week, and I think Steffi actually shouted us out on Twitter for bringing it up. But we love the MMA Depressed. I'm actually going through and looking at the stuff we've talked about this year, pulling the numbers for all the episodes and shows we discussed. And we talked about MMA Depressed every single time they did one. Because they're a fucking blast, and I absolutely love them. You guys heard on the intro, I believe... Wait, was MMA Depressed the one on the intro? It was, right? Yes, it was. It was how the UFC decided... they decided how to... You know what? You guys heard it. I'm not going to try and phrase it better than they did. But yeah, it's a great encapsulation of how funny that show is. And honestly, there's another minute to that quote that I wanted to put in, but I can't pull like a fucking 2-minute fucking intro quote for our or intro clip for our podcast. So yeah, it's just a really good episode. It's classic Phil, Connor, and Zane, where they're just absolutely on fire. And I mean, they talk about the first fight they talk about is Rothwell versus OSP, which I believe they describe as a food fight where Rothwell is much more imposing around food. Let's see. I believe they also described it as the man with no knees versus the man with tiny ankles. They describe OSP's fighting expression when every time he fights, he looks like he's being attacked in a grocery store. They outline their dadliness theory and how, of course, the best heavyweights rank high on the dadliness scale, and that's why John Jones is going to get fucked up. And also on this episode, they're using 3 different video sources, so it is. Oh boy. No one is timed up correctly. It is a goddamn shit show, but it is a lot of fun, and it was just honestly a very like lighthearted, fun romp in MMA, which I feel like we could all use more of, as fucking outlined in this show over and over again. So, the MMA Depressed Us is subtly the least depressing show in MMA, and I'm a big fan of it. So, I definitely recommend checking it out. This was episode 55, which was part 2 of their holiday series. I believe 54 was part 1 on their holiday series for this year, which is kind of like their year-end review. It was OSP. It was halfway through Calvillo and I, since they lost part of the audio. Because
that sounds appropriate, especially the way that fight.
Dude, they honestly said, like, yo, we did y'all a favor. And then I forget what the third one is. I did not write it down. But, yeah, absolutely worth checking out. It's a lot of fun. Let's see. Do you have any other can't miss episodes?
Yeah, let me, okay. God, it's funny when I have to lean in to actually be able to read this. Okay. God damn it! Half of these are like fucking previews. That's a problem.
Well, we can get to. I mean, you can throw a preview out there if it.
I'll put one of these real quick for another can't miss. Jack Slack. This one is a reboot of Fight to Come By.
So, oh, dude, yes. So wait, is this the repost that he did, the 18-minute one on the Boxer Rebellion, or is this a new one?
No, this is a new one.
The preview.
Yeah.
So that actually save that for a minute because that's technically a new show.
Okay. Okay, so I did Morning Combat. I did that.
I've got another one if you want me to throw it out.
Yeah, go for it while I look at this stuff.
So my other can't miss for this week is Heavy Hands episode 350, which is the Handies. I said it was going to be a can't miss last time we did an episode. It's a can't miss. It's 3 hours long, which, oh boy, is that up my alley.
That's like us.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert, Chris, all my favorite podcasts are longer than 2 hours. Or at least they are multiple times a week and an hour plus. I feel like after the hour mark is when you start getting to like the real weird off-topic shit that I really want to hear about, you know? Or at least it also gives like enough of a gap to where you just kind of get to meander but still get shit done. That's the reason why our show isn't like tightly fucking packaged. Like, we could sprint through shit if we wanted, but I would hate this show if we did. Because that ain't what this shit's about. It's about hanging out and talking shit like we basically do off camera, to be fair. So, yeah, overall, oh, thanks, Shotty. But let's see. So, Heavy Hand 350, right, 3 hours long. They get a lot of the boring generic stuff out the way at the beginning, like best fighter, best fight, best performance, all that stuff. And then they get into all their weird awards, which are my favorite, like the Hey That Worked award for shitty game plans that triumph regardless. The Worst Brain Thinking award, obviously a fan favorite. The Bernard Hopkins Strategic Cheating award. The Worst Corner Advice. Most sexually tense build up to a fight. The Old Bastard Had It Coming award, Phil McKenzie's favorite, obviously. The Best Old Guy win, the Worst Fight, and the Best Bad Fight, that kind of stuff. And oh boy, it's just a fun one. So
I imagine Worst Corner Advice. Well, I know Best Corner Advice is when fucking Reddit's own corner man.
Oh yeah,
Mike Terry.
Yeah.
Throw sand.
No, that was Eddie Bravo.
No, but yes, that was him. But Reddit's own guy who actually ended up.
Did he say throw sand too?
Oh yeah, did I send you that video?
Did he really? He did Eddie Bravo jokes in the corner.
So,
oh my god,
I gotta send you the video. Someone made a compilation. It says Reddit invades Mike Perry's corner, and it's like the entire audio. It's fucking amazing. He says dumb shit like throw sand, and he says, I think he said something like "Get up now, your girl is watching," but like what? Or some, I don't know. He says like ridiculous shit, and Mike is just not listening at all. I gotta find the video and send it to you because it's fucking ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
And it's essentially like if all of Reddit that's parroted was in his corner. It's pretty funny because they told him. I think he said in like a casual ask me anything. He's like, hey guys, so if I end up winning, he's like, I pledged 10 grand to Mike Perry. He's like 10 grand by the way that I'm comfortable with burning.
I remember hearing that.
He was like, what should I say? And like they had a whole prompt of what he said, and he said like half of them.
That's hilarious.
So
also. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta find that video.
Yeah, definitely. Also, we should point out we actually just got an exclusive for the show from Sean Sheehan at Severe MMA. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He just dropped into chat. He hasn't been here the whole time. He gave us an exclusive on the low that Dan Hardy is going to be breaking down the Poirier versus McGregor fight on Severe MMA this Monday. So if you guys are looking for some content on that breakdown, that seems like a fun one. I actually like Dan Hardy's breakdowns. He gets a little weird when it comes to Irish and English fighters, I will say. So I'm curious to see what his breakdown is like. But I feel like he also kind of, especially with Conor, gets even a little bit like less. I feel like he's more critical of Conor than he is a lot of English fighters. And so I'm curious to see how that's going to go. And either way, Dan Hardy, I really like his technical breakdowns are really interesting because even if he's like clearly homering for somebody, he'll still give very solid technical breakdowns. So like Open Mat that he's done, which is like some of his breakdown shows that we talked about this year, is like not bad either. So I'm curious to see what it looks like. Although I will say, Dan Hardy can be a homer, so I'm always curious to see what that dude has to say. Let's see. I think that's all I had for Can't Miss. Chris, did you find one, or you want to move on to a new show?
Yeah, I got
yes. Okay, I'm super excited after Sean Sheehan just dropped in chat. Sorry, I hate to cut you off. Sean Sheehan just dropped in chat that he asked him about the Southpaw versus Southpaw dynamic, and it's really interesting, which I am way more on board because Conor doesn't really jab, and Poirier does. So that's going to make that, especially if Poirier chooses to jab a Southpaw, I think that could get interesting. Of course, pull counters makes that a little bit scary, but still, that I'm actually very excited. Sean Sheehan, great fucking question, bro. That is, I'm very excited now. Chris, so you said you had something else?
Yeah, so Weekly Scraps, you call it.
Oh yeah, Aljo's show.
Episode 111.
You said 111?
Yeah, so they quickly previewed Kattar and Holloway. They discussed that, and okay. They also asked Aljo, they said, so what's your plan against Petr Yan? He says, I'm going to grapple and wear him down Habib style for 25 minutes. That's my plan if I were to be honest right now. So he's just going to grapple him.
Yeah,
they discussed Calvin Kattar's boxing prowess. I know that's, the obvious kind of talking point amongst most previews, and yeah, we'll get into that too. Be stupid not to.
For sure, yeah, we'll do it. We're going to do a bit of a preview.
Well, before our preview is the biggest question: can Kattar check or just kind of negate the leg kicks that Holloway is inevitably going to dish at him consistently? Aljamain talked about how he sparred with Calvin Kattar years ago, and comments how much bigger Kattar was than him, and he said how he was fucking me up with shoulder strikes in the clinch.
Interesting.
And he said at one point, I think he said Aljo got put into a guillotine or some sort of hold, and he started not blacking out, but that sensation where you start...
Yeah, you get that tunnel vision going.
Yeah, and he was like, holy shit, this dude's strong as fuck. So he's saying Kattar's a big motherfucker. He just briefly discussed Carlos Condit and his fight against Matt Brown.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting that's happened, man.
He's saying both of them are very similar.
I keep forgetting some of the fights on this card, and I don't feel good about some of them.
And then he says he's really excited to see Santiago Ponzinibbio, who's been out for 2 years, who almost actually died from a bacterial infection.
Dude, how many fucking fighters have almost died in the last year? Jeff Neal is another one.
He's fighting Li Jingliang.
Jingliang's back?
Yep.
Dude,
he's fighting Ponzinibbio.
That's a fun fight and a weird fight, actually.
Spoiler alert, Ponzinibbio's gonna fuck him up.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Can Pon stop the wrestling enough?
If it gets there.
Yeah, the problem is Jangling. Well, okay, counterpoint. How does Pon's eyes work? Do they work good when they're getting gouged out? Well,
bad news for Jangling, because Pons is also good at gouging eyes out.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay. So,
that?
Yeah,
no, Pons is very good at bipolar.
So it's going to be like DC Stipe 3, where everybody gouges everybody.
Yep, this is the eye poke fight.
It's Michael Bisping's least favorite fight, is what you're saying?
Yeah. And then Aljo asks, is Sam Alvey the greatest gatekeeper ever?
No, but he might be the best at stealing podiums from the Capitol.
Yeah, I saw that asshole, and I was like, God damn it. I'm like, where is this dude from? Oh, Florida, of course.
Oh, shocking.
Yeah.
Also,
and then did you hear the Buffalo Man?
Oh, well, I knew who the Buffalo Man was before this, right? The QAnon shaman. I heard him on Sam Tripoli's podcast, fucking 2 years ago.
It's sad.
Oh, also back then, he didn't used to live with his mom. He used to live with his girlfriend at his girlfriend's mom's house, and he was a fitness trainer. I've known of this dude for 2 years, and then I saw that, and I was like, oh, God. Because I monitor Sam Tripoli's podcast to hear the
girlfriend and the girlfriend's mom.
I'm guessing they escaped that problem way earlier than everyone else in America did.
Yeah, the reason why I bring it up, I saw the dude, his mommy was like, my son hasn't eaten since Friday because he only eats organic food and the detention center won't give it to him.
Well, yeah, it's because all these idiots are fucking, like, they're on all that Alex Jones, like, fucking, oh, bro, all you do is MREs and brain pills.
Brother.
Black helicopters and brain pills. Please take my fucking lead supplements that I'm selling. It's the fucking biggest farce. Also, hey, everybody, pro tip. You know where Joe Rogan started selling Onnit pills in, I don't know, around 2014? Oh, weird. It was a year after Alex Jones started selling all the pills to his followers in 2013. Weird coincidence that all started at the same time, huh? Pretty weird.
Bro, you mean my alpha brain hasn't kept me just on it?
Well, sometimes you gotta get off it. You know what I'm saying? Fucking dude, oh my god, I'm so mad about everything.
Sorry, bro, I don't know what you're saying. My brain waves just eclipse your way of thinking, bro.
Jesus Christ. Okay, Chris, before I just hang myself on air, we should keep moving. Let's see. Oh,
well, there's a gallows out in front of the Capitol.
No, to be fair. If there was any more black people in PB, I'm sure there'd be a gallows down here also. Because we're living in a country of fucking racists, and the sooner we accept it, the sooner we can fix it. Anyway, I have a new show that I listen to, which you listened to episode 2 of, evidently, which is Jack Slack rebranded. It is now the Jack Slack Podcast, episode 1.
Yep.
And I think you listened to episode 2. Episode 1 was the Slacky Awards, which I really liked. He essentially rebranded because nobody could fucking figure out what his brand was. Because they would say, someone would say, Fights Gone By podcast. And they'd be like, I love Jack Slack's podcast. And someone would say, what's Jack Slack's podcast? And they go, Fights Gone By. So this fucking terrible cycle. And to be fair, he labeled things terribly on YouTube, which did not help everybody. And so he is officially rebranding to the Jack Slack podcast. And his 2020 Slackies were great. Best game plan. He talks about guys like Kyoji Horiguchi versus Asakura, Muay Thai Max versus Volk. He talks about technical turnaround, the But Why Award, which is always one of my favorites. Like but why would you do that? And yeah, it's a classic Jack Slack episode. I'll let you go ahead and speak on the other one, but I mean, essentially, his new show is just his old show rebranded, right?
Yeah.
A little bit tightened up, a little bit less focus on history and stuff, but same thing basically.
Episode 2, he does a preview of Kattar and Holloway. I think his first talking point is about Darren Wynn, or Deron Wynn.
Deron Wynn.
He's like, so is Deron Wynn great? And he's like, I asked this because Michael Bisping was chirping about Wynn's weight during his last bout, where he asked Daniel Cormier, hey, do you guys have a treadmill, aka? And Daniel didn't like that, and
he got butthurt.
I remember Deron Wynn went out on Twitter and he's like, fuck you, Michael Bisping. He's like, you one-eyed fuck, or some dumb out of base, just out of pocket comment. And Jack was just like, how out of touch you have to be to claim Bisping has never faced adversity when he has one eye.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, and also, the dude's entire career is him being the less athletic, less fucking talented person and overcoming regardless. Like, that's literally his career. So... yeah,
it's like yes, if the dude's a talented wrestler, of course, but he's also the fucking same height as me.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
I had all the athletic prowess and fucking ability that he did at wrestling, I'm not just gonna be like, well, let me just be like her and just
dude,
like,
I'm amazed he's not bigger, considering like how does he weigh that much and
like,
is that
bro,
height and is not fatter?
5'6" and a good wrestler. Fuck you. You should be a featherweight.
Well, no,
seriously,
but he's way too thick to be a featherweight. But he should be
though?
under 170.
No, but you know what I mean. He should be a featherweight or lightweight.
Yeah,
100%. At that height, 5'6".
I mean, even let's just say for fun, he was. There's no reason for him to be walking at 185. You know what I mean?
No, at the most, he should be walking at 170.
Yeah.
And cut to like 155, 1 foot. Like, he's fucking.
Or
moron.
even that 155, 170 is a fucker on a lot of people, and he's a really thick dude. Like, but still, like, he's a 185 right now, right?
It's a joke. It's actually embarrassing.
Yeah.
For him.
Anyway.
I'm not trying to shame the guy. I don't know him, but it's like, dude, it's just because of your height. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, and like I agree that like DC was never gonna make a fucking DC was never gonna be a fucking middleweight, but like he also is not he's not built like DC the way DC was built like DC. You know what I mean?
And that's true. Yeah, because it's a fair point. You know, it's like theoretically, okay, you look at Adesanya's build, he makes 185, and he's like the same height as John Jones. Does that mean John Jones can necessarily make 185? No, unless he wants to hurt himself and lose a lot of weight.
Yeah, yeah, it's farcical. Anyway, what else you got on that Jack Slack one?
So he said this podcast is all about establishing jabs and leg kicks all around. He said from the Kattar and Holloway fight to I think it was Jangalang and Ponzinibbio, and I think it was also Matt Brown and Condit. Well, he said Condit and Matt Brown's come down to who pressures each other more. Yeah, he says Ponzinibbio is just gonna jab to Li Jiangling. He says, hey, look at Joaquin Buckley versus Alessio Di Chirico. That's another softball for Joaquin Buckley. We'll see. Mostly because Di Chirico is on a 3-fight skid. And then he acknowledged the article from Steven Morocco MMA Fighting about Spencer Fisher and the effects of fighting the UFC and not really being acknowledged by the UFC, and kind of tossed aside. So he basically said, everyone go read it.
I mean, everybody should. If you care about sport, you need to see the fucked up part of it. And if it doesn't make you at least a little bit more supportive of fighters making more money or at least having health benefits, then I don't know, eat a bullet, I guess. I don't know what else to say to you. I guess that probably could have been less aggressive, but I'll stick with it. Let's see. I do have a couple other new shows here that I'm going to burn through really quick. Lucas Grandsire, I believe I'm saying that right. I believe it's Lucas Grandsire. He has a podcast, episode 13 and episode 15 that I listened to. Actually, Lucas reached out to us on Twitter, and I've actually been following him. I mean to catch one of his episodes. And he reached out and was like, hey, if you guys have a chance, check out one of them. And I'm glad he did, because I really like his interview style. I listened to episode 13 with Saif Saud, as well as episode 15 with Lauren Murphy. And, man, it's a fun interview that he gets with both of them. He's asking questions that I haven't... It's very rare that I hear people even ask questions that I haven't heard before. Even people who intentionally go out of their way to say, we ask questions that people don't ask, and then they ask the same questions everybody asks. It's kind of frustrating. But I learned in this interview a bunch of stuff about Saif Saud. I learned that his name is actually based on the word sword in Arabic. That's where Saif comes from. I didn't know that in the past, and so that's why because he talks to him, he's like, dude, your name is very like unapproachable, and so like I intentionally asked Jeff Neal how to say it and all that, and like, do you mind giving a history on it, which he does, and it's interesting hearing kind of him and Saif go back and forth. I mean, I always love a Saif Saud interview. I'm a huge fan of the guy. He is very, very like by the books, like a gruff dude, and I love that about him. He's just always a good interview, and Lucas really drags a good interview out of him as well. Like, they talk about Saif having to watch the Jeff Neal fight from home since he got COVID and what that experience was like. So it was like one of the first times that Saif wasn't able to be there at a card for like a lot of his big fighters. So it's interesting hearing him talk about that. He also talks about how he's both manages and coaches a bunch of fighters. And so kind of balancing that, and he's like, it just didn't make sense to me to have some of my fighters be managed by somebody where I know these matchmakers and I've known them longer than most of managers have. So like it doesn't make any sense for some random person who doesn't know the matchmakers as long to reach out to the matchmaker to then just pass information to me and for me to say yes or no. And so, and plus it's Saif is one of the few people in this sport who I would not ever worry about him taking advantage of dudes. He just doesn't seem like that kind of person. Like, it seems like he cares way more about his students and his team succeeding than he cares about himself by far. I don't know. The dude seems like one of the most upstanding people in the sport. And I think we are going to see that going forward. He also talks a little bit about how this year was a little bit rougher for the team as opposed to the previous years, but that just means that they're growing and they're learning, you know. So it was all pretty interesting.
That's awesome, and I'm glad you discussed that, because Fortis MMA, I mean, in general, it's just kind of, I mean, they've put themselves on the map.
Yeah,
whether it's through Safe's work or
yeah.
students or
combination of both,
it's
probably,
both.
but yeah,
it's both.
But really, like, that team is coming the fuck up, and the way he builds people's games out is really, like, by the book, something you love to see. Like, the way you see young fighters come in, or even fighters who've been around for a while, but they come in and he gives them very simple fundamentals of, here's, like, just jabs, low kicks, and cage cutting. And he changes a lot of fighters' games with just those three things. And honestly, I think that's one of the big things that might have been rough for Jeff Neal in that fight is he didn't have Saif Saud in the corner yelling cage generalship and like to cut the cage off more. Because I think that would have been a way bigger factor in the Wonderboy fight if he was there. So that was interesting. And then Lucas also on episode 15 had Lauren Murphy on. And it's a lot of puppy talk, which you know I'm here for. A lot of dog talk. They also talk a lot about Sean O'Malley in the lab and training with him, and O'Malley kind of opening Lauren Murphy up to more of like mindset changes and that kind of stuff, and like focusing more on meditating and that kind of thing. So found that all pretty interesting as well.
Nice.
Let's see. Do you have any other new shows?
As far as new, no, not really. No.
I have one other new show, but I'll get to that in a minute. Do you want to throw a couple well-rounded out there while I go take a piss?
Yeah, so well-rounded. We already mentioned this. President Donald J. Trump was impeached for a second time. The only president in the history of just this country of the United States of America to be impeached twice. Way to go, dipshit. You blew it big time. Now that's out of the way, the real well-rounded, I want to start off with, first off, is a series from Cinemax that is now available on HBO Max, which is what I have a subscription to. It's called Warrior. And you're like, okay, is it the MMA movie of Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton? No. Well, that movie is great. This is based on an original screenplay, a project from the great Bruce Lee. Yes, that Bruce Lee. Back, I think, in, probably the early 60s, I would imagine. It was a screenplay that he pitched to Hollywood. I don't know if the movie was called Warrior then, in the 60s. Essentially, what Hollywood did, of course, since Hollywood is racist as fuck, and still is, yeah, I mean, of course it still is. Not only was Bruce Lee not cast in the lead role, it was given to another martial arts actor. I think it was Keith Carradine. Anyways, this series called Warrior.
Keith Carradine?
Yeah. So I was talking about Warrior is a show on Cinemax that's now available on HBO Max. It's based on an original screenplay from Bruce Lee from the early 60s that he pitched to Hollywood, which is about a Chinese immigrant who emigrates to San Francisco in search for his sister.
I've heard about this.
And he, without spoiling too much, joins a hatchet gang. I usually, a lot of those gangs are the triad and Chinese gang or mafia kind of thing, but they're called tongs also, or some of them. In Chinatown in San Francisco, they're called tongs. So it takes place in 1878. And without spoiling it, the best way I would describe this show, I've only seen one episode. If you're a fan of Deadwood, Peaky Blinders, and martial arts, it's very entertaining.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
It's like a martial arts western. But yeah, a lot of Peaky Blinders-esque and Deadwood style. It's very fun. The lead actor... Fuck, I forgot his name. He's actually half English, half Japanese. He's not Chinese. I mean, either way, it's a fucking show. But he does a good job. The martial arts, everything about it, just the way it's stylized and choreographed is fun. And also, you will recognize a lot of other martial artists, specifically Indonesian martial artist and actor Joe Taslim, who is from the Raid movies, those great Indonesian action flicks.
Nice.
And Michael Bisping is in season 2.
Oh, hey, never mad at that.
Yeah. And I think there's another MMA fighter that's in it as well, too.
I think I actually heard about him recording that a while back.
Yeah, I've only seen one episode, and I really want to start watching it again.
That sounds cool as hell.
If you have HBO, or if you have other methods or means of watching this show, please do. It is fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it's called Warrior.
I'm definitely going to have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it again with my brother, because I know he loved Deadwood. He watched, I think, all of Deadwood, and he mostly likes martial arts shit, so I'm sure he'll watch it either way. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty dope so far from what I've seen from it.
Hell yeah, man. Sounds like it. Let's see. So some honorable mentions that I've got. Jack Slack podcast, The Boxer Rebellion. This is an excerpt of an old Patreon episode he did. That evidently is like I think it's a 2-hour episode, and it's part 3 of a 3-part series. But he dropped about like a 20-minute clip. And it's fucking fascinating. It's essentially about I don't know if you guys know anything about the Boxer Rebellion. I'm not going to repeat it because I'm going to just do a very piss poor version of it. But a very interesting moment in, I believe, Chinese history, right? Chinese Boxer Rebellion? I believe, right? Yeah, it is in China. And yeah, it's fucking fascinating. So it's very cool hearing Jack. I only heard about 20 minutes of it, because again, this is just like a thing he dropped on his regular Patreon feed, or on his regular podcast feed. But I'm gonna go sign up to his Patreon again and give that a listen, because it sounds fucking awesome. Verbal Tap episode 442 was a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys want to hear a lighter hearted version of how the first half of this show went. Kind of feels a little bit like that. A lot of jokes about how the conservatives in MMA are under attack. and stuff like that. It's real, and how they're somehow having fans at Fight Island. It's a fun episode for sure. Best camp of my life, episode 11 with Alex K. Lee was awesome, as well as episode 12 with Gil. Wow, I know how to say his name, and the second I get on fucking camera or mic, I butcher it. Guilherme Cruz. Guilherme Cruz talks about working on Fight Island, dealing with COVID, denial in MMA, pawns returning. A lot of talk about Brazilians fighting. It was a really good one. I liked it a lot. And the Alex K. Lee one was fun as well. I mean, anytime Fernando's doing a podcast, I'm a big Fernando fan. Wrestling for MMA episode 20 was really good. Ed did his year-end awards. Stuff like most significant takedown of the year, coolest takedown of the year, wrestling performance of the year, breakout wrestler of the year, that kind of stuff. Care Don't Care for UFC Vegas 17 reactions was really solid. The co-main event Power Hour for Elite XC Prime Time. They did a commentary track for Elite XC Prime Time, and that was fun as well. And of course, Protecting Neck episode 239. And the MMA Vivisection UFC Fight Island 7 preview was solid. Fight Site UFC Holloway vs. Kattar preview was solid. MMA on the Rocks episode 223 had a super fun award show as well. So those are some of the standout ones that I had. Let's see. Chris, do you have any other well-rounded stuff?
Yeah, so I have the one...
the one you got to, right?
Well, the one
Warrior.
obvious one you sent me.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll get to that one.
That's right. Yeah. Let me just think off the top of my head.
Or if you don't have anything else, you can go to that.
I have one more that I just watched yesterday. So, anyone that's... And you don't have to be like a Marvel Studios junkie or anything like that, or a Marvel fan. I watched the premiere of WandaVision, which is the Marvel Studios' new Disney Plus program show. And essentially, it's the character Scarlet Witch, from the X-Men and Avengers, alter reality mutant, whatever, and Vision, like the android. Essentially, the show is shot like it's a parody of I Love Lucy, Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, I'm seeing
really
screenshots of this, and it's real pretty looking.
It's a very good-looking show. It's all okay.
This looks kind of
When you
cool.
watch it, you kind of say, "Should I be high?" And
Yeah.
all I'll say is it'll make it better, but it's still a pretty dope show.
Okay.
Even the actress who plays the mom from that 70s show is in it.
Oh, I
There's a
love
lot of
her,
fun.
yeah.
And if you're just a Marvel junkie in general, it's a shit ton of dope cameos, and I've only watched one episode and I'm already hooked. And
That sounds great.
The only thing and it's not really an issue with the show, but it's more a world building issue, which is a good thing, is this show will lead directly into the Doctor Strange sequel, which has to do with the multiverse. And Sam Raimi is directing the Doctor Strange sequel, and it's going to be a horror film.
Okay.
And this show is going to have a lot of horror elements to it. And the rumor is that Doctor Strange will show up in the finale, because, Marvel likes to, and Disney like to do it big.
Sam Raimi didn't have his hands on that fucking piece of trash Doctor Strange movie, did he?
What do you mean?
Didn't they do a Doctor Strange movie that was trash?
I wouldn't say it was trash. I mean, Scott Derrickson did the first one. I thought it was pretty cool.
Okay.
It was really...
I heard it was not great. I didn't actually watch it.
I don't know. I mean, you ask Trevor, who doesn't give a fuck about comic movies, he liked it. So,
Well,
I mean, that's it.
Yeah, but Trevor has questionable taste in movies, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know. It was yeah.
No, but Sam Raimi, my point is Sam Raimi didn't do the last one, right?
No.
Because Sam Raimi doesn't really do like visual effects like the last one had, is my point.
This is, he's doing a full-fledged like horror kind of effect.
Yeah, dude, Sam Raimi's great at that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, Drag Me to Hell is low-key fucking incredible.
So yeah, the show is entertaining. They posted the first 2 episodes. They're both like 30 minutes long. And I think there's 9 total, and I think like the last 4 or 5 episodes like an hour long each, something like that. So, yeah, check it out if you have Disney Plus or if you like anything Marvel. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching as it goes, because it's one of the weekly release things as well too. So, should be interesting.
For sure. Also, shouts out to Sean Shane, who just retired in chat and said thanks for the cheese. Can't wait to see you next week, bro. Good. He did say Doctor Strange was good. Let's see. You know what? I actually did have one other new show that I did not mention because I was about to explode, which is the Bow and Glow MMA show. This is a new show hosted by Hunter Homostek and Dwayne Finley. Essentially, this is the revival of the old school Bleacher Report slash Flow Combat team, and it's an interesting episode. A lot of talk about the old school days of like them driving on I-80 in Iowa and it being the worst stretch of road while they're going between gyms, and like them going to gyms and getting fucked up by fighters in training, just like dudes like Gilbert Burns tapping him 6 times in a row and shit. Then they have an interview with Dustin Poirier, which is a lot of fun too. He jokes about how he wasted all his good hair days early on. He also makes a hilarious joke, which he's been making on Twitter, that you guys will hear on the break. But goddamn it, is Dustin Poirier a nice dude and just a lot of fun. I mean, honestly, it's just a fun Dustin Poirier interview. They talk to him about him finally getting some of the respect he deserves. They talk about Good Fight Foundation. They also talk his hot sauce and how he has a barbecue sauce coming.
Oh, cool.
Which I'm excited about. His hot sauce is pretty good. It is what you think it would be. It is very much a like Louisiana style, a little bit smoky, like Crystals-esque kind of Louisiana style hot sauce. Which it's good, but I'm excited for the barbecue sauce. And also, he says he wants to at one point do a food show where he travels to gyms and tries local restaurants, which I think would be a dope show.
I can get behind that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a really good cook as well. So I think that should be pretty fucking cool. I think we went over everything I had. I talked CME Power Hour and Protect Your Neck and all that. Sean Sheehan, the dude in chat who just quit MMA until the next podcast he records, which is probably while we're talking. That dude is called Shawnee Podcast after all. However, he does have, which I am kind of excited about, I found out he has a True Balls live stream at 4 p.m. Sunday for the Man United versus Liverpool game. Now, Chris, I don't give a fuck about soccer, or as they call it, football. I don't care. I also don't care about Man United or Liverpool. But I will tell you what, drinking, as they like to refer to it, drinking cans at 8 a.m. with Shawnee Podcast while he's doing because by the way, 4 p.m. is their time. It's 8 a.m. our time. 8 a.m. on Sunday drinking cans with Shawnee Podcast. That doesn't sound like a terrible time. So, and also former world-class MMA journalist Sean Sheehan. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if he stole that award off of Ariel's desk, since they just give that to him every year. That's the Ariel Award, right? The MMA Journalist Award for Ariel, because only Ariel's allowed to win it, even though literally Kareem Zidane broke a fucking story that literally led to the insurrection of this country almost. But we don't give him awards for
Kareem Zidane, another nominee, Aaron Bronstetter. There's a couple other.
I mean, Kareem Zidane was literally been doing right-wing watch articles about the Proud Boys and QAnon this entire time, and you don't give him the award when he literally basically breaks the story that QAnon's gonna rush the Capitol. Great luck, MMA. You're doing a great job. Hey, this is a great.
Like, bro, it's not MMA, bro.
Yeah,
fuckface.
Good point. Good point. Also, keep politics out of MMA, obviously, bro. Unless it's a red hat, and then it's cool.
Talking about insurrection, B?
Dog, I'm talking about how, obviously, B, talking about pandemics, B, talking about the flu, B. Oh, wait, no, that's the flow, B. All right. I hate all the jokes I just made. Chris, do you have any...
about BLT?
Fucking, I'm not talking about that dude ever again. How about that? The only thing I'm talking about is the Reddit page making fun of that fucking idiot for going forward.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, Chris, you have any well-rounded shit before we get to this next segment? Oh my god, we went long.
Yeah, no, I'm done. I'll talk about the thing that you sent me to listen to, which I'm glad I did. But other than that, I don't really have much else to say.
I will literally spit out 3 things very quickly. George Carlin's specials have been a fucking godsend recently. You want to feel a little bit better and a little bit less like you're gonna die in the immediate future, and if nothing else, an existential crisis, listen to a George Carlin special. You'll feel a little better. Also, Doug Stanhope's Beer Hall Putsch seems more relevant now than it ever has, probably. And Giant Bomb's Worst of the 90s video. You guys want to have a flashback to the 90s when it was a simpler time where we were just in one war and it wasn't at home? That much? Well, you can go and listen to the Giant Bomb Worst of the 90s songs, which includes jams like the fucking Creed bangers. It has Butterfly from
Crazy Horse? No, Crazy Town?
Crazy Town, thank you. Yeah, Butterflies in the Eyes, the looks to kill. You know what I'm saying, Chris? Also, don't forget Limp Bizkit's Faith, obviously. Worst songs of the 90s. Gotta be in there. Also, obviously, anything Celine Dion did in the 90s is terrible nowadays, looking back on it. So yeah, it's a good old time.
Unless it's a meme with the recorder.
That's right. Now that we've... that's true. Sean Sheenan's talking about in chat how 97% of people die driving to work, bro. So obviously, B, you just need to stop being a bitch and not care about masks. Because masks kill more people than burning shop, bro. Sean Sheehan singing "Come My Lady, Come My Lady" in chat. We are officially off the rails. We have officially made bad things happen today, Chris. On that note, I guess we should talk about very quickly before we get to this next segment, the well-rounded show that matters the most, which is going to have a big spotlight on the award show. It is the Behind the Bastards episodes, Behind the Insurrection, as well as It Could Happen Here, which I'm going to talk more about Behind the Bastards on the award show, because that is the best podcast. It's not MMA related, but sometimes is MMA related, that I've listened to in 2020. However, Chris, you listened to It Could Happen Here, which is a podcast also hosted by Robert Evans, which he recorded in March of 2019.
March 28th, 2019.
And I'm going to let you explain it, but he essentially recorded a podcast where he said, what if everything goes bad for both the Democratic side and the Republican side in the next year? And I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, so the cold open essentially is, imagine instead of you, I think he kind of just was under assumption you lived like in the Midwest. So say cold Chicago, right? For example, like you're in Chicago. You walk outside. You just want to walk to a liquor store to get yourself, say, some lotto tickets, whatever the fuck you get. Doesn't matter. 40s, cigarettes, right? And instead of just putting on your jacket and you're safe and walking down the street, not that some parts of wherever you're at are safe. Doesn't matter where you are. The point is, what do you say? There's gunfire in the air. There's explosions in the distance. It isn't a foreign enemy. It's a right-wing insurgency that's infiltrated just the core and infrastructure of our democratic republic.
Well, and it's essentially, the whole premise is, it's the second American Civil War.
Yeah.
And that was the premise he started in March of 2019. He then goes on to lay out specific events that could happen that could lead to a second American Civil War. And Chris, how many of those events happened in 2020, which he said in March of 2019?
A good number of them.
I mean, it was so specific that at one point he says it's very possible that during protests at a march against a person getting shot, there's going to be a protester who gets shot by a counter-protester, and everyone will see the footage. Everyone's going to look at the same exact footage, and both sides are going to see the exact opposite thing, and it's going to spiral from there. He called that in March of 2019, and that is one of 100 things he called. It's insane.
Yeah, the thing that was crazy to me is he talked about he recorded at the Republican National Convention and the Democrat National Convention during the 2016 election between Donald J. Trump and Hillary Clinton. Regardless of what you think about either of those people,
Yeah, we can use quotes around both of those.
Yeah. His experience was at the RNC, where conspiracy theorist and professional shithead Alex Jones had a very unfortunately impassionate speech about
Where
how
you literally called for civil war.
Are anti-freedom scum. And he said he saw a mob of these supporters nearly kill Adult Swim's own Eric Andre, who was there to professionally troll.
Yeah, which you guys have seen some of the footage of. And he's
Republican presence.
by the way,
the memes of "let me in," or shit like that. And it was clips from Alex Jones interviews on his terrible program.
It should also
rejected.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying rejected villain of Who Framed Roger Rabbit fame, Roger Stone, had some stuff he had to say.
Dude,
stuff about the NRA commercial was pretty frightening.
Well, and one of the things that makes all this way more important when you're hearing it, Robert Evans also covered the overthrow of the government in the Ukraine during the revolutions recently there.
2014 in Kiev and Maidan, and then
and he was like on the ground talking to both the soldiers and the resistance in Ukraine during and happening. Like he was on the ground in the war zone. That's his beat. So it's very scary that he called this shit not a year plus ahead of time. And so
now, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because generally when it comes to wartime or just the rules of engagement, journalists or the press in general, objectively speaking, are not allowed to be interfered with. I won't say attacked.
Well, in what country, bro? Not this one.
I'm glad you bring that up.
Yeah.
So in general, do you think that's going to fly here?
Even in Ukraine,
they
allow press to be around. But here, we fucking hit them with flags.
Just see what the MAGA tards, and I know that's not PC me calling them tards, the Trumpanzees. Look at what the Trumpanzees did to the press's equipment.
Don't give them cute names because it makes it not okay. They're fucking fascists.
They're fascists.
They're racist and fascists. Motherfuckers were carrying rebel flags through the fucking
they're terrorists.
through the Capitol.
They don't like any sort
They're
of
fascists,
objective presence of the press. They destroy people's cameras, press members. It was embarrassing. It was sad.
It
was seditious.
The worst moment in our country, probably, that I've ever experienced.
Just in a long time. Yeah, it was bad.
So please listen to Behind the Bastards, and I would recommend going and listening to It Could Happen Here, because honestly, we clearly have an education problem in this country with how fascism rises and how it spreads and the ways to stop it. We clearly have a problem. We clearly did not teach that right in school. And so Robert Evans is a one-man fucking team of people all he's doing, he's literally reading documents from historians and universities about the history of how fascism rose through this country, through other countries, just general dictators that are terrible people. It's just, if nothing else, you can agree with it or disagree with it. It's important you hear it.
So the two main talking points I have that I'll just say, he quoted, "Before a civil war can start, enough people have to want to kill their country," which is sad but true. And then lastly, he said, "History has shown those who feel their political career is in jeopardy will call on their supporters for violence." Just historically speaking.
Yep. So. And historically speaking, as he talks about, these moments in time, like January 6th, it's never the last time. It's never the last time. These characters show up again and again, and until they are dealt with, they keep showing up, and they keep repeating these cycles. And whether it be all the fucking David Dukes of the world and all those racist fucks, or whether it be whatever moron is pushing Zionist fucking craziness on fucking 8chan or whatever the fuck forum you're on nowadays. If you're hiding your fucking power level, acting like adults, we all need to stop treating the people associating with racists like they're not racist. Because you can't associate with people who are openly racist, but I'm not the racist one. I mean, all these guys I'm with are, but So maybe, I mean, I'm naive. I grew up in a world where I was literally, it was like I was going to punk shows and there was a bunch of fucking skinheads against racial prejudice who were just fucking up Nazis all the time because Nazis would show up in a couple numbers when we were growing up, and there would be 15 sharps who would all fuck them up because they would literally attack and fuck with people the entire time. And so I come from that world, so I understand. I don't have the same fucking white fucking historical background to my shit like a lot of people do, but crazy thought, if you look around and you see Nazis cheering for the same thing you're cheering for, maybe rethink your opinion. Maybe. On that note, Chris, I guess we should get to the actual breakdown of this card, and we should stop talking about how Nazis are pieces of shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can talk for a while about how pieces of shit Nazis are.
Oh, I'm sure it won't be the last time, buddy.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's all I got.
Well, on that note, don't listen to Joe Rogan's podcast or Brennan Schaub. They're fucking... Joe Rogan is at least a fascist-friendly motherfucker, and Brennan Schaub is just ignorant. So that's my big skip for this week, but we'll get to that when we get to our award show. In the meantime, instead, listen to this fucking hilarious clip of... Oh god, what's our break clip? I forgot what it was. It was great, though. Oh, it's right. It is the Bow and Glow show about Dustin Poirier talking about he's never given up on guillotines. So, enjoy.
Liked by the sound of violence.
As much as you've evolved mentally and as a fighter, I feel like your Twitter game has evolved just as much. You know, you're not shy about giving it back to people or chirping back whenever you have to, or just being hilarious about it. Like, I know everybody telling you should go for the guillotine, right? Like the guillotine's there, Dustin, and you've like really played into that. I think it's really interesting to see.
I'm going for it. I'm giving up position. I'm giving up everything. I'm going for it. I'm going to get somebody. 2021, I'm going 3-0, all guillotine.
Yeah, it's on the record. When it happens, we're going to run this back, and you're going to look like, you know, Nostradamus.
Guillotine Island. It starts on Guillotine Island.
Are you excited about it all?
Liked by the sound of violence.
As much as you've evolved mentally and as a fighter, I feel like your Twitter game has evolved just as much. You know, you're not shy about giving it back to people or chirping back whenever you have to, or just being hilarious about it. Like, I know everybody telling you should try, go for the guillotine, right? Like the guillotine's there, Dustin, and you've like really played into that. I think it's really interesting to see.
I'm going for it. I'm giving up position. I'm giving up everything. I'm going for it. I'm going to get somebody. 2021, I'm going 3-0, all guillotine.
Yeah, it's on the record. When it happens, we're going to run this back, and you're going to look like, you know, Nostradamus.
Guillotine Island. It starts on Guillotine Island.
Different generation, are you excited about it all?
Liked by the sound of violence.
As much as you've evolved mentally and as a fighter, I feel like your Twitter game has evolved just as much. You know, you're not shy about giving it back to people or chirping back whenever you have to, or just being hilarious about it. Like, I know everybody telling you should try, go for the guillotine, right? Like the guillotine's there, Dustin, and you've like really played into that. I think it's really interesting to see.
I'm going for it. I'm giving up position. I'm giving up everything. I'm going for it. I'm going to get somebody. 2021, I'm going 3-0, all guillotine.
Yeah, it's on the record. When it happens, we're going to run this back, and you're going to look like, you know, Nostradamus.
Guillotine Island. It starts on Guillotine Island.
Different generation, are you excited about it all?
the sound of violence.
As much as you've evolved mentally and as a fighter, I feel like your Twitter game has evolved just as much. You know, you're not shy about giving it back to people or chirping back whenever you have to, or just being hilarious about it. Like, I know everybody telling you should go for the guillotine, right? Like the guillotine's there, Dustin, and you've like really played into that. I think it's really interesting to see.
I'm going for it. I'm giving up position. I'm giving up everything. I'm going for it. I'm going to get somebody. 2021, I'm going 3-0, all guillotine.
Yeah, it's on the record. When it happens, we're going to run this back, and you're going to look like, you know, Nostradamus.
Guillotine Island. It starts on Guillotine Island.
Different generation, are you excited about it all?
Liked by the sound of violence.
As much as you've evolved mentally and as a fighter, I feel like your Twitter game has evolved just as much. You know, you're not shy about giving it back to people or chirping back whenever you have to, or just being hilarious about it. Like, I know everybody telling you should go for the guillotine, right? Like the guillotine's there, Dustin, and you've like really played into that. I think it's really interesting to see.
I'm going for it. I'm giving up position. I'm giving up everything. I'm going for it. I'm going to get somebody. 2021, I'm going 3-0, all guillotine.
Yeah, it's on the record. When it happens, we're going to run this back, and you're going to look like, you know, Nostradamus.
Guillotine Island. It starts on Guillotine Island.
Different generation, are you excited about it all?
All right, everyone, we're back.
Yeah, we are.
We are back to preview UFC Fight Island, Holloway versus Kattar. I actually don't know what.
It's not Fight Island. First off, there's no such thing as Fight Island. It's definitely UFC.
I didn't know the number. That's why I wanted to.
To be fair, though, it's actually what I'm referring to it as is UFC on ABC 1, because it's their first event on ABC.
That's cleaner.
It's kind of a big deal.
Real quick, if you are an ESPN Plus subscriber, I believe you also get this. I'm
would
almost
assume.
100% sure. I believe that is true.
I would have guessed. Yeah, I'm
Yes,
not
that
positive,
is
but
true.
I think so. Also, what are you drinking? Same thing?
Yeah, back to the special lager from Epic Brewing. That's
There you
actually
go.
the Japanese style pilsner.
I had to switch it up to something a little lighter, so I'm going with one of the classics, Miller High Life. The champagne of beers.
It's Miller time.
I mean, it's never Miller time, but also to sober up a little bit right now, it's Miller time.
In the United States, well, just alcoholics in general, to sober up, you drink lighter beer.
I mean, yeah, it's not vodka, you know.
Well, we're not Russian, are we?
Well, someone might have had vodka on the break. I'm not gonna say who.
Well, then there he is. There he is.
Since this is Chris's first news of that, I bet you can guess.
It's like, I couldn't tell. Just kidding.
Well,
Anyways, I'm fuck with you. All right, so let's just get this fucking going.
yeah, we got this card breakdown,
Yeah, so the first bout
which is
of
better
the
than
night-
I expected.
Yeah, this looks pretty fun. Just doing the old eyeball test here. The first bout of the night, excuse me, of the day. Well, night in Abu Dhabi time.
Yeah, do we know the official start time West Coast for this? 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Pacific.
is the prelim start time, which means main card is noon.
It should be 11.
Yeah, 11 or noon, somewhere like that.
It's somewhere around there. All I know is the main event, Holloway and Kattar, should be at 2 p.m. Pacific. All right,
Man,
around there.
I'm into that. But that means
first
I have to
fight of-
edit early as fuck. I just realized. God damn it.
First fight of the night is a men's featherweight bout between American fighter Jacob Kilburn. He is going up against American fighter Austin Lingo. Jacob Kilburn, last time we saw him, he lost via triangle choke to Billy Q. Billy
Yeah.
Portillo, which was December of 2019. So it's been a little over a year since Jacob Kilburn has fought. He's going up against another American fighter, Austin Lingo. Austin Lingo, last time we saw him, he lost to Yusuf Salal via unanimous decision in February of 2020.
So, out the gate, I want to say I've done zero tape study for this card because I've been doing all of my free time on the award show. Chris, I'm guessing you've done zero tape study?
I've done a little bit of tape study, but
Really?
it's extremely minimal.
On any of the early fights? Like, did you do any tape study on this one? Or just the higher up stuff?
Higher up stuff.
Okay. My first thoughts on this are, it looks like based on what I'm seeing, I would expect Kilburn to want to get this to the ground, especially against Lingo, who is nicknamed Lights Out and is a Fortis MMA product. And Kilburn is a jiu-jitsu dude with judo background. The Billy Q fight, Billy Q is a weird, that's a very weird entry point into the UFC, especially out of island fights. And the two losses he has is to Bobby Moffett and Billy Q, which are the only people's names I'm recognizing on his record. So I'm going Lingo via probably KO round 1 based on his record.
I'm going to go Lingo decision. Because that's just a coward take.
Well, to be fair,
decision.
Anybody via decision during a pandemic, I feel like is not the wrong move. Because I still am not convinced that anybody has any kind of actual training camps right now. But yeah, I don't know. The dude's been getting a lot of first round wins, and Kilburn is a dude who, while he did hang into the second round with Billy Q, a lot of his record... Well, actually, you know what? A lot of his record is him losing to subs, now that I'm looking at this. So that, I don't know. Yusuf Zalal is such higher competition that it's kind of... I don't know. I don't know what to make of him yet. And again, I haven't seen any of his fucking footage, so... I'm going literally picking basically by Fortis MMA, and he recently fought Yusuf Zalal.
That's essentially why I'm picking Lingo as well. As
Yep.
Fortis MMA.
This next fight I'm fucking hyped on, though.
Yeah. So the odds brought to you by Sheamus real quickly.
That's right, they are. Best
Looks
boy.
like looks like we got Lingo at a -250 to a +2 hundo for Jacob Kilburn. Take that as you will.
Wow.
Next one. Yeah,
That's a pretty big divide, but I can see why.
Next up, we have Canadian fighter and veteran Sarah Morris, Cheesecake, going up against Brazilian fighter Vanessa Melo.
Yeah, it's fun matchmaking.
Yeah. Sarah Morris, last time we saw her, she lost a unanimous decision to Sajar Eubanks. She's
Who
kind of
looked
had a
not
little
great
rough.
in her last fight, also, we should note.
She hasn't won.
But to be fair, if you look at her record, the people she's losing to are people who are names. Like Sajar Eubanks, Macy Chasson, Toledo Bernardo, Lucy Pudilova. Like, these are all people with at least considerable momentum in the division. Whereas with Vanessa Melo, you could say that about Tracy Cortez at Any Aldana for sure. Not as much Carol Rosa. But also, this is classic. Like, I don't know, like, who's gonna win by armbar is my question.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, now that I look at it, Vanessa Melo has a lot of decisions, including one over. Oh god,
I'm kind of leaning towards her.
Yeah. Like, this is 100% a does Sarah Morass catch an armbar or does Vanessa Melo get a decision kind of fight.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no reason to bet anything other than those two things. And in which case, I've got to go Vanessa Melo. I don't feel good about it. And Sarah Morass can absolutely get an armbar. But, like, as one COVID-ridden laddie I once knew said, an armbar? An armbar. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Vanessa Melo by decision.
I motion that, and I agree. However you want to call it. Let me cue this up. Let me tell you the odds real quick. Brought to you by Seamus. God, these odds are fucking weird.
Also, don't you guys like Chris's audio so much better now that I taught him how to use a mic? It's gotta be better. It can't
I was
be
like,
worse.
isn't a microphone supposed to hear all the sounds everywhere? And you're like, no, you fucking asshole. It's
every week I get to teach Chris how to use that mic until he figures it out.
one area right here that you gotta aim your fucking face at.
Yeah, pro tip, y'all.
Oh.
There are mics that are omnidirectional and there are mics that are unidirectional.
And remember, here's a shitty meta reference. Now this is podcasting. Yippee!
I don't even know what that's to, but it sounds bad.
Do you know, I was talking to Trevor about this earlier. It's from the shitty Star Wars The Phantom Menace, the worst Star Wars movie ever made. The little fucking asshole Anakin Skywalker.
Did he say that in that movie?
He says now this is pod racing, and he goes yippee. And he's like,
pod racing.
Yeah, because Trevor's talking
I get
like,
it now,
dude, he's like the prequels, which are shitty, and of course Kyle, who's trolling, he's like the Phantom Menace, the best one, and I'm like, no, please stop. And then I heard Trevor's like, oh, that shitty little kid from Jingle All the Way. I'm like, yeah, that kid.
Hey, to be fair, Jingle All the Way is a great movie.
Jamie, where's Turbo Man, aka the PS5?
The Turbo Man doll.
You realize that nowadays, getting a PS5, you have a better chance of getting a fucking Turbo Man doll. It's essentially what getting a PS5 is now.
Why did he bring a reindeer?
Best part about that movie is what's
the cookies?
The name for
it's 100% Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman's the best in that movie.
Oh, these cookies! Hey,
these
is your wife
cookies.
in the shower? Like,
He's
what the fuck?
such a cunt in that movie. It's the best.
He
Phil
just hits
Hartman
on
is
all
so
the
good.
MILFs. He's just a fucking G.
Hey, to be fair, Arnold's wife was banging in that movie.
Yeah, in real life, Tom Hanks' wife. Good for you. Anyways.
R.I.P. to Tom Hanks and his wife, obviously, because we all know the goddamn black helicopters.
They got Cobra.
They died from COVID. These are pre-recorded videos.
They ain't afraid of Cobra.
Yeah. Also, I'm making fun of like fascists who are saying bad things. I'm not saying you should go listen to these fucking idiots.
Yeah, no,
Let me make that very clear because I don't want I don't want when I yell black helicopters for it to be like the way Joe Rogan yells at black helicopters.
You mean like Black Hawks? That's what he'd say, like Black Hawks, you know, like black. Yeah,
Well, to be fair.
Oh no, that's Brendan Schaub. I'm getting mixed up. You talking about Black?
Man, that show is, dude. Shout out to the TFATK Reddit. If you guys are not looking at that thing,
the rest of you, Jake, for the podcast, he sent me some memes. I'm like, dude,
they
like,
are
I'm
on
so glad
fire
you're like
lately.
in the loop on that.
Yeah, no, everybody is. Even people who are fans of that show are not fans of
Remember
that
I
show.
told you he sent me that photo, and I think he's like, hey, you don't know this is not on brand. Or I sent you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, God damn it. For those who don't know, director James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy and other movies tweeted, "This was an attempted coup organized by a group of power-hungry Republicans wanting to overthrow a legitimate election and cheered on by the President of the United States." And says retweeted by Tito Ortiz.
I don't understand. I think Tito Ortiz is too dumb to read. And I think
he's probably like, bro, I love that movie. Retweet. Oops. All right.
I think he just saw Gunn and retweeted it. Honestly, as far as I can tell.
Bang 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 bang. Dude. All right. We're trailing. The odds brought
also,
by Seamus.
You want to know a fun James Gunn fact? James Gunn, former director of trauma movies, he got his start in directing in trauma movies under Lloyd Kaufman.
Oh yeah.
So also getting his start in trauma movies under Lloyd Kaufman is Zach Amico, of course, who is known as he's the co-host of the Real Ass podcast with Louis J. Gomez. You've also seen him on Legion of Skanks. He made a movie called, or I think he was, I don't know if he wasn't the head on, what's the name of the fucking movie? It's not Chicken Apocalypse. It's Poultrygeist. Okay, you could say how I would do that. Poultrygeist. He was like a head on that movie. He wasn't like the head on the movie because that was actually, I think, the last movie Lloyd Kaufman directed. But you know who else was in that movie? The QAnon Shaman. You know how, by the way, you know how they call him an actor because he was in that movie? You know how they cast that movie? They ask for people who want to work for free.
Yeah.
And then they feed him cheese sandwiches while Lloyd Kaufman drinks vodka.
Are they organic?
No, they're cheap. They're literal. I'm telling you.
According to QAnon Shaman's mommy, he needs an organic diet.
Yeah, according to QAnon Shaman's mommy, he got kicked out of that house and had to live at his girlfriend's house for a while. On the last episode, I listened to him talk on a podcast before that. So,
and according to me, that QAnon Shaman would have been better off just getting either tasered to the balls repeatedly and getting cardiac arrest like that one guy did, or just shot in the neck. But that's if you ask me.
I mean, allegedly, sure. I don't want to go for full parlor on this fucking thing, but...
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is all theoretical.
Yeah, no, in a perfect world, which we clearly don't live in. Hey, wait, we were doing picks and not talking about racists anymore. What happened?
Yeah, so the odds brought to you by Seamus. You got Sarah Morris at a...
Plus 130?
This is like everywhere. What the fuck? Okay, I'll pick one. At a minus 205.
Pick the one that starts with... Okay. Whoa, wait, no. Don't pick that one.
Okay,
that one's wrong.
Okay, well, I'll pick the one... Okay, I'll pick the worst one.
What's the biggest underdog line for Sarah, or what's the biggest underdog line for... Wait, what line is Mello at in that?
Dude, I told you these are fucked.
At minus 200,
Here, I'll pick
is she
the most
plus
realistic
1?
one that's still fucked. Here we go. Minus 192 for Morris and a plus 177 for Mello. Okay.
I guess people are just doing that out of experience and size.
Want to hear the fucked up one?
Sure.
Minus 260 for Morris, plus 195.
I might bet this weekend. People understand that Morris gives up position constantly for arm bars, and the chick she's fighting.
Most obvious one, the most common one I see that is like there's two of them.
Maybe
minus 205
again, I haven't done any tape study, so maybe I'm missing something. but that seems fucking like a weird line. I'm a big Sarah Morris fan. We saw her fight in person in San Diego when she fought. She almost fucking finished Andrade in the end of that fight, getting a standing RMC. I'm a big fan of her, but I find that line weird.
Okay. Next up, we have a men's welterweight bout between Germany's David Zawada going up against Russia's Ramazan Imiev.
I think it might be Imiev. I can't.
David Zawada clearly does not play Street Fighter based on his nickname.
Really?
The last fight we saw, he choked out Abubakar Nurmagomedov, Habib's cousin.
Yeah.
And I remember Habib's dad is like, "You brought shame to our family," and he's like, "Saudi."
Did you really?
I think he said something like fucking just like damn.
I mean, I don't even think he's actually part of his family.
He's like you know sambo jiu-jitsu and you get choked out by amateur, you brought shame to the family. And he's like,
I don't even think he's related to him at all, though.
Oh, I think you're right.
I think he's actually like not an actual cousin. I think it's just the same last name that he calls him cousin.
Thinking of Umar.
Yeah, you are.
Wait, hold on. Let's find out.
I'm pretty sure.
Find out Abubakar Nurmagomedov. I don't have time to look this up.
No, and it's like, what are the odds it just says it anyway? That because he calls him my cousin. He's like he's like Roman and shit. I like picturing Habib as fucking what's the main character's name in that goddamn?
Nico
Bellic, 100%.
All we need is a Serbian fighter.
Dude, if they added takedowns to GTA 4 like it was Bully, you could literally play that game like you're Habib.
That'd be the greatest game of your life.
That would be the best. You just jump out of the car and just double leg fools and fuck them up on the ground all the time. That would be the best game
see
ever.
The leaks for Grand Theft Auto 6. That's finally.
How many developers do I have to bribe to make a mod like that to get the Bully takedowns in GTA 4?
Bully? Can I give you some bad news? It was in development for 4 or 5 years, and they canceled it at last minute 2017.
Bully?
Fucked Bully 2. It's because
they do that all the time, though.
You're supposed to be in college, and they're like, well, you can't do that. That's basically what it came down to. Like, dude, you just can't do this. There's too much backlash.
Well, it's not even...
You do another high school setting, or you don't do the game at all. And they're like, well... And I guess apparently they were treading the line with what really they could... They were treading the line between a rated teen and mature. Like, it's never going to be rated mature. I mean, you can't do it
because they're... Yeah, that's why they wanted to go probably more towards college, because they get away with more. I mean, Bully is the greatest takedown... The greatest non-MMA game with takedowns of all time.
It's great.
The fucking double legs to ground and pound in that game is unparalleled. I used to literally just play that game where I'd just run around and double leg teachers and fuck them up and run away.
All right, stand on the desk. I'm like, what's up, principal? A headshot with the slingshot. And he's like knocked out. He's like, I'll get you, Jimmy Hopkins.
I would literally just like double leg everybody who talks shit. Like, if I was walking by anyone that talks shit, I would just double leg them, hit them in the face, and sprint off on a skateboard. It was just the best.
Don't forget the marbles while you're on your skateboard.
Oh, for sure, dog. It was a banger. Bully's the best.
Grand Theft Auto 6. This is not related at all. Apparently, it's supposed to be set in Vice City in the 80s, but with the new engine that they're releasing.
It's the best game they've ever made.
Also, Narcos. You will be dealing with Colombia, and you'll be able to go to Colombia as well. That's all I know. And there is a female protagonist.
Oh, so you're saying this is the greatest game ever made? That's what you're telling me.
There's a female protagonist for the first time and a male protagonist, and I think one of the protagonists you play as is a DEA agent.
Because if GTA...
It's basically Narcos the game.
Yeah,
it's going to be amazing.
If Vice City had better controls today, it would be the greatest game of all time.
I'll tell you
the
this,
controls
GTA 6 will be the greatest game ever for you if they get it. Yeah, so that's the current rumor. It is basically GTA Narcos, and it's set in Vice City. Do whatever engine
as long as they get a Hans Zimmer fucking score, I'm It's my favorite game ever. I'll
Guess
tell
what
you right now.
Because they're gonna milk it to death. The
Boom,
online.
ba-doom,
Milk it-
boom,
the
boom.
online will probably be great.
Boom,
but
ba-doom, boom, boom.
I'm not falling for that.
Ba-doom, boom, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. Bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum.
Did you say Hans Zimmer? Don't forget the.
Oh wait, no, I don't mean Hans Zimmer. What was the fucking Hans Gruberman? It's a very different Hans.
Hans Gruberman.
Wait, is that even right? It's Hans Gruber, right? Wait,
He's
no,
from
what's
Die
the
Hard.
no? That's the Die Hard. Who the fuck? It's Hans Zimmerman, right?
Hans Zimmer is like the Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy guy. He did Inception with the.
What the fuck is the name of the dude who did the goddamn Miami Vice music? This is gonna drive me
I like
nuts,
Miami?
dude. It's gonna be like not even close. Oh my god, my
Alright.
M key just stuck. That's great.
Anyways, I think I'm going with Ramazan Imaev, but I'm not really sure.
This is driving me motherfucking insane. Yeah, no, I'm going Emiev for sure. It's not even close. What the fuck is the guy name of the guy? Okay, it's Jan Hammer. It's Jan Hammer. You could see how I did that. Right?
Jan Hammerman.
It's literally JANHAMMER. You could see how that happened. I was like, I knew it was some combination of sound that sounded very similar to that.
But yes, Chris, to your delight and to mine as well, GTA 6 is according to leaks will be in Vice City in the 80s.
Well, I am the happiest motherfucker that's ever existed if that game ever comes out, which it never
Yeah,
will.
it won't because
Yeah.
12-year-olds are like, Mommy, I want more shark cards.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, they do. Yeah, I got Emia via probably decision, right?
Poor
Yeah.
decision. The odds on this card are just fucked. Let's just go with this one. Zawada's a plus 235 to a minus 288. Ramazan Imaev.
That's kind of how I figure.
Next up, we have a banger of a heavyweight fight, or as Shawnee Podcast calls it, meat smashing meat action between Justin Tafa and Carlos Felipe.
I mean, sure. I could, yeah. That sounds like, yep, that sounds like what's going to happen.
Australia's own Justin Tafa going up against...
Thick Boy Fight Club, as a Shab would say, right?
God damn it. Carlos Felipe. Justin Tafa, last time we saw, he defeated Juan Adams via punches 2 minutes into the first round. Take that as you will. Carlos Felipe,
I will not
his
take
nickname
that.
is Boy. This is his third UFC fight.
Second?
For his third total fight.
Oh, for
his last
Tafa?
being for Felipe.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah,
third
this-
one?
No, this is his.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, his last bout he defeated Jorgen De Castro via unanimous decision. I think I'm gonna take him. Justin Tafa lost to Jorgen De Castro. I know MMA math is bullshit.
Tafa
but-
did not look great, and going decision against Sergey Spivak is way more impressive than anything
I
else.
gotta
Tafa do.
go with Carlos Felipe.
Yeah, I'm going the same way.
I'm gonna go knockout because I think Tafa's just gonna gas out and be like, "Oh fuck."
I'm gonna go via ugly decision because I think Tafa's gonna gas out and go, "Oh fuck," and then Felipe's just gonna look at him a lot.
Or lay on him. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, you got a round on yours?
Yeah, I'm gonna go round 2 knockout for Felipe, and I'll probably be wrong. It's probably gonna be ugly Russell fuck, but it's all good. The odds. Oh god, dude, all these odds are fucked.
I mean, that's kind of how they make cards nowadays, Chris.
All right, Carlos Felipe is a minus 210 favorite to a plus 170 over Australia's Justin Tafa. Take that as you will. This next fight is a women's flyweight bout between China's own Wu Yanan, her nickname being Mulan, going up against.
What? Is it really? That's
Yeah.
That's such a good nickname.
Going up against Panama's Jocelyn Edwards, even though that's probably not how she pronounces her first
No,
name.
it is.
La Pantera.
Or yeah, actually, where's she from? Panama. It might be Jocelyn or
It's probably Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, yeah.
Or Jocelyn, probably.
Panama. I don't know if it's hard J or soft J.
I mean, they're
Could go either way.
Latino. Whatever. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna get. Wu Yanan, her last fight, she lost a split decision to Masuki Inoue back in August of 2019. Okay. Jocelyn Edwards, last time we saw her, this is her UFC debut.
Yeah.
So unless you watched the UWC Total War 22, you watched her knock out Pamela Gonzalez last July. I don't know how to really go with this. I kind of want to lead towards Wu Yanan. Dude, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, I'm going with Milan 100% on this. Via probably decision.
And spoiler, the odds for this one are dead even. All across the board.
I mean, they're both
dead even.
Yeah, both fairly unproven. But like, if you're going to split decision against Mizuki Inoue, and you before that you had a win over Laura Mueller via armbar, while I could if your last loss before that was a decision to Gina Mazzani, who was bigger than you, and that was back in 2017 when you were way earlier in your career, I'm definitely leaning towards Milan. So I'm going to go Milan decision all day.
I'll let you take this one away. I have no fucking idea who to
Although now that I look at it, it probably should have been a Milan armbar win if I really want Milan to win that. But I will keep on moving on. Wait, what was your method on that last one?
Decision.
Yeah, me too. All right. This next one, you want to list off their credentials and all that?
Yeah, so you got a Russian fighter who's fighting out of France, at least according to his
Oh, you're not
flag
even trying to do
here.
the name? Let's go with Nasruddin Imavov.
Yeah, Nasruddin Imavov is going up against American fighter Phil Haas, also known as Megatron. Nasruddin Imavov, last time we saw him was UFC Fight Night in October, just last October, where he had a unanimous decision victory over Jordan Williams.
My fucking keyboard stopped working during this episode.
Phil
dude.
Haas, last time
My
we saw
M and
him,
my Y key doesn't work anymore. What the fuck? Anyway, keep going.
Last time we saw Phil Haas, he defeated Jacob Malkoon at UFC 254, which was October 24th. Via, holy fuck, 18 seconds of the first round punches. This dude's a badass motherfucker. But not to take away from Nasruddin Imavov, he's probably a badass motherfucker too. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Phil Haas is going to get this dub. I'm going to go knockout second round, and I have no clue what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, again, neither one of us have done any tape study, but just looking off of strength competition, I mean, Julian Marquez is decent competition at the weight class for both of their careers at the time back in Contender Series. You got you got the win in Bellator against a fairly unknown character, and then a couple wins in Brave, which Brave wins. Based on the records of those dudes, that's not like the craziest matchmaking I've ever seen. It's not. This is 100% MMA math right now, since I don't remember either of these dudes' games other than Phil Haas being kind of just a tank. I think a lot of this comes down to, can Phil Haas hang for enough time to not gas and die? And since these are a bunch of dudes with first round finishes, I'll go Phil Haas on this, I guess. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
No, actually, you know what? I'm not going to go Phil Haas. I'm going to go Imavov via decision. Which one
And
are you
the
leaning?
odds brought to you. I'm just gonna go Phil Haas knockout second round. I don't care. Fuck it. I'm just going for it.
To be fair, though, I feel like it's going to go one of those two ways, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. The odds brought to you by Seamus. You got Phil Haas at a minus 125 to plus 100 of him above. Take those you will. God damn it. Dude, I have no idea for this one. Holy shit.
You know Puna. You saw Puna on Contender Series. His name looks scarier than it is.
Long guy?
Yeah, Puna Haley Soriano. You definitely saw him on Contender Series and fighting.
Yeah, Puno Haley Soriano, story time. Going up against Serbian. Oh, here's a Serbian, my cousin. Dusko Todorovic, Thunder.
Oh, went over to Quan Townsend. That's a decent one.
Ooh, nice. Dusko, the Serbian, Niko Bellic here is 10-0. Puna, the American, the Hawaiian, is 7-0.
Holy shit. It's been since goddamn December of 2019 is the last time he fought?
Last time he fought, he knocked the fuck out, gave the left hook Larry to Oscar Pachoda on Usman versus Covington. And Dusko Todorovic, Serbian fighter, defeated Daquan Townsend
back in October.
This is kind of a toss-up to me. I think I'm going with Puna.
I'm not.
Like I said, I'd be lying if I knew what I was talking about.
Well, to be fair, like I think Puna, if Puna had been more active recently, I would take Puna. But Puna has not been active in a while. You going decision?
Or
TKO?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going Puna TKO round 3. Why not? That never happens, but I like to be dumb.
I was gonna say that's a bold ass prediction. I'm going Todorovic or Todorovic, one of the two, however you pronounce the dude's name. Mostly because he's been more active recently, and while Puna is he's real stocky and he's going to make it tough and ugly. I think if he can't work his wrestling game, I don't know how much of the rest of his game is going to translate. Or at least if he can't pressure consistently. And based off dudes at least wins and then getting a decision in Contender Series, like in a win over a dude like Daquan Townsend, who, like, Daquan Townsend is a super experienced dude in comparison to Puna, so... I don't know. I feel like Puna's either going to barnstorm dude early or he's going to gas and end up having a long night. So I'm going to pick the second. Again, I don't feel confident in any of these picks, though, because I've done zero fucking homework. I am 100% flying about the goddamn seat of my pants on this shit.
And the odds brought to you by Sheamus, I'm going to go
Puna's
with...
got to be a big favorite. Like 130?
No, he's actually not a favorite at all.
Really?
Nope, not at all. You have Todorovic at a minus 160.
Holy shit. Okay.
130 of Puna.
I guess I can read records. All right.
Take that as you will. This next
I'm guessing
fight,
Puna's going to get wrestle fucked is probably... but by the sounds of those odds...
Yeah, his opponent is Serbian. So.
Yeah. That's kind of the... I think it's Serbians are a different breed.
A cousin! Anyways, this fight is... It's a thing. We got Joaquin Buckley, who's probably knockout of the year. I mean, most likely.
You mean 2021 after this fight, or...
Oh, 2020 knockout of the year. Excuse me.
I was just saying.
Yeah. He is going up against Italian fighter Alessio Di Chirico, who's on a 3-fight skid. So Dana's probably like, all right, well, let's give Buckley someone who's losing again.
No, they're 100% trying to get another meme knockout.
Oh yeah. I don't think it'll happen.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to be an ugly decision.
Yeah. I probably got Buckley in the decision of this. I guess.
Too.
That's all I'm leaving it at. So let me tell you the odds brought to you by Sheamus. Yeah, this. Let's go with this one. Minus 285 for Buckley to a plus 220 for Di Chirico.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, for Di Chirico to win this, he has to be able to out wrestle Buckley for 3 rounds. I don't think he has the cardio or the strength advantage to do that.
Yeah, no.
He can't play around on the outside, so, like, I don't know what else he does other than just eat damage or not engage.
Yeah. By the way, this next fight, I'm very hyped because...
Yeah, these next 3 are fun.
Both these gentlemen, One of them in particular has been out because of health issues. Unfortunately, it happens to the best of some of these fighters. This dude's really exciting to watch, barring the eye pokes. I know, it's bad, but maybe he's learned his lesson.
Santiago Ponzinibbio nailed it.
Yep, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Last time we saw him was in November of 2018, where he knocked out Neil Magny. He's going up against Jangalang. Just kidding. I mean, that's
Jangalang! Shouts out to Steffi.
Li Jingliang. One of China's best fighters, not, counting the champion at strawweight.
I mean, he was like one of the first fighters to really blow up out of China recently, though.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before, China really should have more fighters. Maybe they do, and I just not pay attention. I don't know.
Well, China should have a lot of things they don't have.
Well, besides the mass genocide that their administration is committing in countries, but that's besides.
That part. And, they should have, the ability to live without the government killing them. But
that being said, how do you see this going?
I mean, can Jangling out wrestle Pons, or does he get fucked up? Is how I see this going. Jangling's definitely capable on the feet, but I feel like trying to hang over time with the Pons is going to be a tall order. Jang does like to grab over under and walk dudes to the fence and work them over there. But also that's where he gets a lot of fouls called on him. Well, along with a lot of other places as well. And yeah. It's essentially, I agree with the Karth in chat talking about how this is essentially going to set the record for eye pokes and gouges in the UFC.
It's two gougers. I got Ponzinibbio. I actually think he's gonna. I don't want to say TKO, but I think he's gonna put a beating on Jingliang like late into the fight, where it's gonna be not like a near stoppage, but he'll just make a point.
Yeah, I think that Magny fight was kind of an eye opener for a lot of people on how to fight that dude.
I think Ponzinibbio will end the year as a fringe top 5 welterweight if he wins like 2 fights.
That's interesting. I mean, to be fair, he went on a great run for a while.
He's a very good volume striker, and he's very accurate. So,
yeah.
And his takedown defense isn't bad.
No, 100%. And I think, like, Li Jingliang walks himself into damage a lot. The only thing I worry about is, like, if Pons just keeps getting clinched up against the cage, does he get stuck there and get decisioned? But I don't hate the Pons pick. I might actually agree with you on that. You taking him? What was your method?
Decision.
You know what? I'm actually gonna go the same way. I think off of damage. Like, I think Pons is gonna drop the 3rd round if it gets to a 3rd round. Or, well, I don't even know about that. I think Pons is going to clearly drop a round in grappling exchanges, probably against the cage or if he gets taken down. But I do think that either Li Jingliang will drop the 1st or the 3rd pretty significantly against him, depending on how aggressive he comes out and how his cardio holds up. In which case, that's a tough decision to win. And that he's been on the end of a couple rough decisions, right?
Lee or
yeah.
Ponzi?
Hasn't he been on a couple of close decisions recently? No, I guess just Magny and Matthews were pretty close. But there was a couple of those wins that he got that were not the clearest. Well, yeah, I guess it was mostly the Matthews one that was like a little bit close. But
besides him trying to rip his eye out, but yeah.
Well, that was why it was close. It was because
in the odds brought to you by Shamus, you got Ponzinibbio at a -333 to a +250. So take that as you will.
Yeah. That's kind of where I would put it. But I would not be surprised, though, if Jangling made it ugly as shit and got a decision by putting him on the cage.
This next fight is going to be closer than you think because it's both these dudes are at the same part of their career essentially.
Yeah, man. I just hope
I know
this
one
goes
of
into
them-
the clinch and
I
not.
wasn't paying attention to the podcast I listened to, but one of them made a really good point about fuck. I think it's one of them doesn't react to pressure well against the cage, and I want to say that's Matt Brown. And one of them just kind of just goes in, gets the double leg and the palm to palm, like when he put. Is that Condit? He's got to be because he's a
I mean,
Jackson guy.
it's kind of both of them, but Matt Brown, yes, Matt Brown's gotten taken down via double A's against Cage.
Matt Brown's 40 years old now.
Well, how old's Condit? He's got to be 40,
Probably
right?
like 40 also.
He's born. What is he? Born.
Condit is
36. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I got Condit in this one via Russell Fuck boring decision. It's garbage. What do you got?
I don't know. I got feeling bad. That's my main pick. Is I'm gonna feel.
That's
a
your
little
pick.
Bad.
Just say it's bad, and you win.
I'm gonna say my pick is I'm gonna feel bad. I mean, fuck, man. Let me put it this way. Okay, I will say the Karth, that would be that was okay, I was gonna say the same thing. The problem is when okay. So the Karth brings up in chat, what if Brown just takes Condit down and pounds him? Which 100% he would, if he just grabbed Condit in any kind of clinch and just got a trip, took him down and started elbowing the shit out of him, I think he wins that fight very clearly. I also think Matt Brown is the kind of person who will stand with Carlos Condit to prove a point. And I also think they're both cannot handle damage at all anymore and will be very hesitant and faint a lot. And my other point is, the main problem I have, okay, well, I know who I'm going with. I'm going with Matt Brown because just based off, I hate to do MMA math, but based off of records, the last wins in Carlos Condit's career was the close court McKee decision. Not that close, but still pretty close. Thiago Alves back in 2015 and Martin Kampmann in 2013.
Oh god.
Matt Brown's last wins were at least Ben Saunders in 2019 and Diego Sanchez in 2017. And he fucking killed Diego Sanchez.
He like murdered him.
Yeah. And then Tim Means he also beat in 2015. So while I think that everyone is going to feel bad at the end of this, I still think Matt Brown just has the grittiness to make it. Like, if Matt Brown gets fucked up enough, I think he will fuck up Carlos Condit more than if Carlos Condit just can't get his timing going. So, while I'm picking Matt Brown, I don't feel good about it. And I won't feel good about it afterwards, regardless of the outcome. So, I guess I'm going Brown TKO second.
I agree with you here. Here's what did not feel good about the odds.
That was so hot.
We got we got a -172 for Carlos Condit.
Oh my god!
Plus
it's the size difference. I know it's a size difference thing,
shit.
But Jesus, I don't know about that, y'all. I don't know about that. Carlos Condit's never stopped a takedown in his life, and Matt Brown at least tries trips sometimes. Condit does own a coffee shop. You are 100% right, the Karth. And unfortunately, I'm not positive that it's related directly to Black Rifle Coffee, but I feel like there was a connection there at some point.
Oh no! All right.
Oh wait, what was your official method on that?
I got Matt Brown by decision.
My decision. Oh my god! If that fight goes to decision, I hope it's not what I think it's gonna be.
Well, I'll be at work, so we'll see.
Well, to be fair, this next fight, no matter how it goes, it's gonna be dope as shit.
Yeah, we got former featherweight champion Max Holloway going up against Calvin Kattar from the New England Cartel from fucking Boston.
Fucking Boston.
Yeah, his name. Never mind. I was gonna make a.
Way to go, bro.
I was gonna make a shitty joke. I'm like, dude, I can't do this. This is really bad. Never mind. Max Holloway. Last time we saw him fight, I
think I figured out the joke you're gonna make. Does it start with a B?
I'll tell you.
Does it start with a B?
I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
And his last one was a Max Holloway fight. He lost his last 2 fights. I don't agree with that he lost his last fight.
I don't know. That last fight was so fucking close.
It was close.
I need to rewatch it again.
It's not a robbery. People love to throw that out. Robbery! No. Robbery is just like your fighter has 2 10-8 rounds and then they lose. That's like, fuck off.
I guess, but also I feel like everybody is so sanctimonious about the phrase robbery, where it's
that's the real answer, the way you put it. So.
Yeah, but like, also, is it not a robbery if you get fucking $200 stolen off you versus $2,000 stolen off you? Still got robbed, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We get a little sanctimonious about that phrase.
Bro, penny versus a dollar.
All right, bro. It's not like you stole your fucking Boston beans and shit.
Hot dog.
We're just doing terrible accents that aren't even accurate for the area at this point. This is ridiculous.
Park the car and have it, yeah.
Oh, God. Fucking suck my dick. Don't
say that. All you gotta do is you just gotta quote fucking, what's it, Departed. What's that thing Mark Wahlberg says? I don't know.
Is that the one where never mind. I was going to make a fucking Rounders joke, but we should just move on. So, what do you... So, going into this fight, like, I guess the question is where do you feel like Max Holloway is at versus... Where do you feel like Calvin Kattar is at? Because it's Kattar, right? It's Kattar, right?
It's not Kattar, it's Calvin Kattar.
Okay, I always have a panic attack about this every single time I hear it. I feel like Calvin has clearly been on an upswing. The problem is, the big question I've heard talked about the most, which I would agree with, is
can he defend leg kicks?
Yeah, it's the leg kick question. Well, the leg kick and just the pace of Max Holloway over 5 rounds.
Especially when so I'll say this. This is some of the tape study I did. I watched Calvin Kattar versus Shane Burgos, and I watched Calvin Kattar versus Jeremy Stevens.
Two solid leg kickers.
Shane Burgos, unfortunately for him, had his hands down pretty much the entire fight.
Well, that's how he fights, yeah.
And he got knocked out. Calvin Kattar fucked him up at the end of the fight.
He was competitive, though, early, though, if I remember.
He was landing some shots to the body. But this is when he was backing up Kattar against the fence. Once Kattar gets a good defense, he has good defense as far as his shell, his hands. They go up. They cover most of his upper torso of his ribs and all of his face.
He's good at. He's also good at, like.
He's a good boxer.
He's good at catching punches.
He's a good MMA boxer. I'm not going to trigger any boxing fans. He's not a good boxer. I mean, he's a decent boxer. Like, I think he was near Golden Gloves or amateur. I think he was
Golden Gloves doesn't really mean shit, though. Like,
yeah. Let's be real. Because like, if you're
asking, it means something, but it doesn't. It's hard to compare.
If you were to ask me who are the best, just the eye test, like boxers for you, like for me, and mixed martial arts though, as far as like boxing fundamentals, I'd say Kattar. Stipe is up there, but have a heavyweight sloppy in general, right? I'd say Kattar, Conor McGregor, Max Holloway, those 3 for sure off the top of my head. But Conor's more of a counter sniper. He's more of a counter boxer.
Like Peter Yan, it would be like one of my go-tos.
Dustin Poirier is a good example as far as a boxer who goes volume pressure. Peter Yan, of course. So there's a handful of guys that utilize good boxing. It depends.
Who was the motherfucker who was ripping body shots recently? That dude. I love that kid. I forget the new dude who just came in recently in the last couple cards.
I was going to joke and
ripping
Stipe,
body
but
shots.
I'm kidding. But no, I know.
Fucking Stipe, yeah. Stipe figured out body shots against Cormier.
Only
took him 1,400 rounds.
Like real shit. Stipe does have pretty good boxing.
Well, yeah, but for heavyweight.
Or like a heavyweight. Yeah. That's why I said that for heavyweight. But yeah, who are you talking about? He was ripping body shots. Fuck.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah. There was a new dude. I'm a big fan of his. I'll remember when I see it, but anyway. I really think a lot of this fight's going to come down to kind of Kattar keep a pace with Holloway.
My question is, dude, does this fight go to the ground? Is there grappling?
That's
round
a
fight?
good question.
No. Is this a 3-round fight?
No, it's got to be 5, right?
Fuck, I think it's 3.
No, it's 5x5
No,
according
it
to
is
Typology.
5. Sorry, I'm blanking. Don't listen to me. It is 5. Thank fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
So, in the other tapes I did, Kattar versus Zabit. Zabit is a good volume striker. Puts you up against Cage. Early, yes.
Then he dies halfway through the second round.
Holloway has a gas tank. Zabit doesn't. That could be problematic for Kattar. I did another tape study. I think it was Holloway. Once he felt like a really good boxer. Aldo too is okay because Aldo did land a bunch of shots at the body when Holloway's getting backed up. So I can see Kattar having success there because Kattar, in my opinion, is a better boxer than Holloway.
I think so too.
Than Aldo. He's a better boxer than Aldo. It's arguable though.
Well,
I think
he's a different. Yeah, he's more active. He's more actively a boxer than Aldo. Is how I'd phrase it.
Yeah. Because Aldo likes to lead with those violent outside kicks, and then he kind of follows up with like a lead uppercut down the middle of the chest. You know.
Well, and Aldo's game is very much like an outside kickboxing game. Even though he throws a lot less kicks than he used to, rather than like.
Because what I like about Kattar is he'll just kind of keep it. He's very similar to Poirier. That's why I wish Kattar goes to lightweight. Him versus Poirier would be bananas. That'd be fun because it's just both of them just shelling up, just kind of jab, and just kind of just the fucking right straight snipe, and then going back, circling around. It's a matter of who can fucking land those leg kicks to destroy that lead power, right?
Yeah.
Then again, Poirier, he's not. I mean, he is a lot. He is definitely bigger than Kattar, but damn, Cater's a big motherfucker though too. I saw them.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of Dan Ige towards the end of that fight. Like he was bombing on Dan Ige towards the end of that thing.
I'll say this right now. I have Holloway in this fight.
I do too.
Especially because of leg kicks.
Yeah.
That's why I'm taking him.
I'm taking him for cardio and
just because of leg kicks, but no, it's leg kicks and cardio. If Kattar wins this fight, he deserves a title shot. And what he'll do if he's smart is he'll wait.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, he'll wait. It depends. Depends how he. Okay, I'll say this: if he knocks out Holloway, which I doubt,
that's a guaranteed title shot. Has anybody ever put away Holloway?
No, and no one's even ever knocked him down. The closest someone ever knocked him down was Poirier. He wobbled him like twice back.
Did Conor ever wobble? No, because Conor was the one with the fucked up knee.
No, you know what's ironic about that fight? And Conor fanboys won't even bring this up.
Is Holloway wobbled him because of the knee?
No. It's not even that. Conor wrestled him like 2/3 of the fight.
Well, it's good. Again, the knee, but yeah.
Yeah, no, people don't ever bring that up. Conor fans don't want to bring it up. Like, he wrestled him. No, he didn't. Like, did you watch the fight? Conor fucking had Holloway in his back like the entire fight. Just ground and pounding him the entire time. He looked like a wrestler, or like fuck off. So, and was that because of?
But then again, Max
was that because of Conor's injury? Yeah, mostly. But still, like it's like you're not gonna fight hurt. Like you gotta do what you gotta do. So, and that's part of Conor's game. We'll talk about this next week. His takedown defense is good. For a striker, for a kickboxer, for whatever you want to classify.
We have to talk about the rapist again, huh?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Alleged. Yeah. I just have to say that just because of,
I know, laws and shit.
Being objective as I can. By the way, did you see what hurt his brand?
Ironically, not the rapes. Accusations. The rape accusations.
Speaking of the accusations and the alleged rape, did you see his watch?
The one where it's Dana sucking his own dick when he opens it.
Yes, that's the one. Anyways, for those it's
the stupidest fucking dude.
It's not helping him. It's not helping him.
It's not. It's a bad choice. That's a bad decision. It's not emblematic. It's not emblematic of great decision making. We'll put it that way.
And I won't say who I think's gonna win next week, because that's for next week. But anyways, fight
we have plenty of stuff to get to before then. But we got a method
Holloway,
on. You got a method on this
Holloway. I think this goes to decision, honestly.
Yeah.
Because Max hits hard, he hits for volume, but Kattar's so fucking tough.
He's so tough, and he can eat such.
I think they'll slug it out.
Yeah.
And I think this will be closer than people think. I got a Holloway, and it'll be a decision that I think you'll end the fight and be like he won, but it'll also be like, wow, Kattar looked good.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of fight I see. It's like, wow, Cater's a badass motherfucker, you know?
Yeah, I think unless Kattar walks into just straight volume, or unless he gasses hard, which again, pandemic kind of who knows kind of shit. But I think Holloway probably pieces him up over time and builds momentum 3 through 5 and puts him in a tough place.
Like I said, in a world of theoretical just theory, if Kattar knocks him out, oh dude, just give him the belt. Like no one's ever knocked seriously. Like if Kattar knocks him out, I hope Kattar wins the belt.
Yeah, you should get a title shot off
Max
that.
Holloway, you should knock out Volkanovski, and who the fuck did there is no excuse.
You got to get that title shot if you get that.
You just got to win the belt at that point. Fuck off, you know. So, and I'll be cheering for the guy, you know. I don't really have a dog in this fight. I like both fighters. Max is already.
I mean, I'm a Max homer, but that's just because I like Max a lot. But Kattar's dope as shit too. Like, I like both guys for sure.
Ever since that video he had with that random bird that came to his house, I was like chilling with him. That's hilarious. Like I was a fan. Do you remember that video?
No.
He was in his backyard and it was like a sparrow.
Oh shit! You're
like,
right.
Hey,
that was Kattar.
And the bird went away.
Yeah.
Want some food?
You mean like best friends with
them? Yeah. And he said like 1 hour later, he's like, he finally shit on me. And I was like, shit everywhere.
Yeah, I do.
He's still not going away, you know. And then he's like, all right, end of the video, and he had like a bird cage and he adopted it.
I do remember that.
So
and
I'm curious if he still has that pet bird.
I
hope he does.
I love Calvin Kattar all over again. I forgot all about that. Also, the Carthan chat pointing out that the Kattar's nose has been vulnerable in the past, and whether that'll hold up over 5 rounds of Max's volume.
In the Jeremy Stevens fight, Jeremy Stevens definitely did a lot of leg kicks, which compromised Kattar and caused him to back up a lot. The jab, I mean, Kattar has he has a big nose. It's a big target. I did notice so too, man. Yeah, that shit gets red and compromised quick.
Well, and also, especially when Holloway's like he was in the Volkanovski fight, switching stances and jabbing off of both sides, like that can quickly lead to problems, especially if he's switching sides and jabbing to straights off of both of them. Like that is quickly how you can get busted up.
It's almost like Caden's kind of like McDonald.
The more another argument is the more Kattar got leg kicked on the outside and jabbed up, is he going to try and pressure forward and just eat more volume, and then it just kind of get chipped away at even harder in the cardio. That's actually, man, I'm starting to lean towards a Holloway TKO if Kattar starts.
I can see that.
Like, if Kattar gets jabbed up and really chopped down early, that could easily force him into a really, really rough outcome.
So, I'll give you the and my pick is still Holloway by decision.
I'm going to stick with it.
The odds, what I see, it's a minus 165 in favor of Max Holloway to a plus 135 of Calvin Kattar. Take that as you will.
That's about how I feel about it.
Previewing this, this should be a fun card. It should be dead at work for me tomorrow, so I should be able to watch this for the most part.
Hell yeah! If you guys are in San Diego, hey, maybe swing by New English Brewing and come say hi to Chris.
Help us out. Yeah, it'll be fun. So that's all I got.
I'll tell you what, if you show up to Chris's brewery, I'll buy you a beer. Chris can text me and I'll send him money. How about that? So anybody in San Diego or willing to make a drive. Not too far a drive, motherfuckers. COVID.
It's in Serena Valley. It's not too bad. But that's all I got. I don't realize it's already past midnight. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's been a bit longer than we expected, but we had some catching up to do.
It's a big card, and next week's probably going to be longer. Because is the awards thing? We're waiting.
I think we're doing 2 shows in the upcoming week. I think we're going to do a Friday and a Sunday show. Friday we're going to do our award show.
So let's figure this out. So do you want to do the awards one before the McGregor card, or do you want the McGregor card to be its own thing?
I'm thinking we do the awards show before the McGregor card, and then we do a recap and podcast episode on that Sunday.
We'll do just the
Friday
awards
and
shit.
Sunday.
Not previewing the McGregor card, right?
Right.
Or just a quick preview, or I don't know. I don't really
We'll
care.
play it by ear on that, but yeah, I'm figuring we'll do our award show Friday, hopefully, and then we'll do the preview or the recap Sunday for regular podcast shit. We might swap those, but I think that'll probably work best.
I think if anything, I'll just give a quick here who I think is winning between.
Oh, I'm
Poirier
sure
and
we'll
McGregor.
give a quick couple picks. Yeah. Cool, man.
Cool.
Well, on that note, y'all, you guys can, as always, we always appreciate if you send us podcast recommendations on Twitter, TSOVpod. Shoot us an email, sovpod@gmail.com. Let us know the stuff you want us to listen to. If you have a show, please let us know. Lucas Grandsire did that recently, and he was actually already on my radar, but I appreciate him reaching out because that reminded me to make sure I got to it. So, and that show's fucking great. So check out his podcast, and if you guys have one that you just started or you know of somebody who's dope, let me know. We will absolutely review it. And or if you just have shows you dig, let us know. We will also make sure we take a look at those as well, because I don't have enough motherfucking time in the day to listen to everything, so I'm always looking for advice on what I'm missing. That's why I do this show, is because it's a show I wanted, where I wanted to hear, all the shows that I wish I would have heard about. So that's why we do it, y'all. That and as an excuse to drink and smoke a shitload of weed with y'all. So on that note, have a good fucking time. Hey, everything isn't as dismal as I make it sound, or the world makes it sound. We are all people. We are all together as dope motherfuckers, and Pride hold up signs saying we are all one. Yeah, I don't know. Be good to each other, but also don't tolerate racism or racists. And Chris, got anything to add on this shit before we get out of here?
That's it for me. I just hope everyone stays safe, stay healthy. Hope your family's healthy.
Yes. Please listen to COVID guidelines, and please stay
be
safe.
careful, and don't catch no cobra.
Yeah, stay away from that cobra. Till next time, everybody. Go do something decadent. Fuck Nazis. We out. Late.
Liked by the sound of violence.